Hey friends, how's it going? So in today's video, we will be building a complete API test automation framework from scratch. Now, if you haven't met yet, hi, my name is Jatin and I'm a principal QA with 10 plus years of experience in automation testing and DevOps. Now, this video comes from my main course, the live sessions which I take for the sdet mastery program, where I help students and professionals transform their career from manual to automation testing. Now, in this particular video, you will learn how to create an API test automation framework from scratch. You will also learn how to use the RestAssured library in your automation framework. Okay. Next, we will learn the different design patterns that you need to know while you create your API test automation framework. Along with that, we will learn how to write clean and maintainable test scripts in your framework. Now, throughout this entire video, I will be discussing the common challenges students and professionals face while creating the framework. Okay. Now, the beauty of this particular video, guys, is that I will be building the entire framework in front of you guys. So you will be seeing the live coding happening. Okay. Throughout the entire video, you will also hear the discussions, the doubts that I'm having with students. So probably these questions will be something that you might also think. So you will get the direct clarity on why certain topics are used. For your convenience, I have created the notes for this entire course and you will find it in the description section for this video. Now, without wasting time, guys, let's get started.
Okay. And this is actually a kind of a group session that I decided. So I was not having any class in the weekend for today. And people from other batches have also joined. Anyways, so the main thing over here, guys, is it's going to be a quick recap for everyone. And the most important thing is for the next 2 days, that is today and tomorrow, we will be building an API automation framework. Okay. I believe it's you have solved the delete interview question, which is there on the LMS. Okay. Um, that particular assignment would be the backbone. Okay. If you haven't solved it, I would suggest you this is like the month of December. So please make sure that you try to complete it off this month itself. So you are aware of your entire API as well as your UI automation framework. Most of the around 30-40% things will be similar for that. What would you have seen it in the tellet interview question? Rest of the stuff I'll be introducing it in today's class. uh, so what I've done over here, guys, is for your convenience, just give me one moment, let me select that page. Yeah. Let me know if my screen is visible. Yeah, I hope you guys are able to see the screen right now. Yep. Okay, perfect. Okay. What I've done for your convenience, guys, I've given it a more like a step-by-step guide for you guys to practice it off, especially for people who have just started and they really don't know what exactly is APIs and all those things. But I don't think there is going to be any person who is not aware of APIs. So over here, it is going to be a little bit different. A lot of things I won't be discussing in this particular class. What we will be discussing and what will be the major premise of this particular class, I'll just first talk about that. The major focus is only going to be on building the API automation framework. Okay. So the first thing and the only thing that I want to focus on is building the framework. Okay. That's the only thing this 2 days is going to be focusing on. Um, I want to, but I can't really go into discussing the various type of authorization and all those things. So you will be finding those things in the LMS in future. Right now, that's not something really important, because if you're giving interview also, they'll probably ask you what is the authorization technique used in your project. How did you pass the authorization token? How did you write the test in APIs? So on and so forth. So this is going to be more from the practical implementation perspective rather than conceptual perspective. Though I will try to discuss those things as much as I can, but Like we have a timeline, so we need to complete it in 2 days. The next thing that comes over here, guys, is um, this is the entire documentation. Probably it would be a great idea for you guys that you download it off, take a printout of it, and when you're practicing it, like you have some kind of a reference for you guys. Okay, so you can use it for your reference. I broken it down into scripts, so whenever I will be coming and writing code, I'll just try to use this as a reference. Okay, not 90% of the time, I'll probably write it by myself over there, but for you guys I have given this particular notes so that you understand how exactly the framework needs to be created. Okay, for your convenience, the different design patterns that will come into picture, how exactly service object model will be different from page object model. Okay, I'll come to this particular page probably tomorrow. Okay, but not something really need to be worried about. So the end-to-end structure of this particular framework, I have created it off how exactly logger needs to be created. Logger will be more or less similar that what you have seen it in the telit. Okay. The only thing is what are filters and rest assured. That's something that I'll probably discuss it off in tomorrow's class. It's for day 2. So technically nothing to worry on all those things. Okay. Now, um, when you guys probably, I'm talking about the everyone over here, like when you saw the old application was Phoenix application, most of you guys would be, I still see you guys test that particular application. So I know that part. But over the period of time, like there were a couple of new applications that I was building. I was trying to learn different things. So I created a separate application itself now, which is Swift actually. Okay. So it's a kind of a different application. Which gives more or less more scenarios compared to that of your Phoenix. Phoenix was simple CRUD application. Of course, this is also a CRUD application, but over there, the number of APIs I try to increase it off, the number of scenarios, number of challenges that you face in your API testing, I try to add it off over here. Okay. So for you guys, you can use this particular application, which is Swift dot something like Swift.tech with Jatin. You can just visit this particular website. And just for the folks who are not aware of this particular stuff, it's just a simple banking application. Okay, trying to depict a banking application, but the way it is created is it has only bugs. Okay, you will never find anything okay such like something which works but still doesn't work over here. And the reason for that is instead of giving you an application which is already working properly and then tell you guys to test it off, that doesn't make sense, right? Because then you won't be able to understand why are we testing something. So I thought we'll do the reverse stuff. We created the application, then we introduced the bugs. Now, for your convenience, what needs to be tested, how it needs to be tested, I have already created these scenarios for you. If I'm not wrong, these are all your API testing scenarios. Okay. So check whether the user is able to register, check whether existing user is registration with existing username is happening or not. So it should fail. So whether it's a positive scenario or a negative scenario, I've covered it off. So when you guys are practicing it also, what needs to be tested, how it, what all scenarios are there, these things are written over here. So you can take it as a reference and practice it off. Okay. It's just going to help you guys speed up your entire testing part over here. As of for today, I will be using this particular stuff itself. So the entire API documentation of your Swift application is this Swagger doc, which is this new server, which is there. I'll probably put it inside this documentation itself so that, like even if you want to use it off, you'll find it at one place. I hope this part is clear to everyone. Okay, just for you guys, I'll comment it off also. Where is this PDF? It's not a PDF. It's a web page, buddy. So, भेजा तो था यार सुबह. Okay. See if you are able to open this particular documentation for UI and API both. As in, I did not get that particular question. What exactly that means? Let me just see that part. Where is this PDF? UI and API both, as in. I didn't catch that particular question. Anyways, so let's get started over here. Now, The thing is, let's try to do it in a bit different way. Okay. Let me share the whiteboard. I hope you guys are able to see my screen right now. Okay, perfect. So this is the API automation framework that we need to create. Now, let's say that in interview, they ask you about the framework that you have created, okay, particularly from APIs, okay. Generally, whenever you're creating the framework for your application, it's always better that you say that you have created one framework which is able to do multiple things, okay, because then you have only one center point to look at. Now, over here, let's say that you have created an API automation framework. So the first thing that comes into picture is which libraries are you going to use? So the library that we have used is, of course, RestAssured. Okay, plus testage. We'll come to this particular library. Now, when you are trying to test an application, okay, a common question that can come into picture is how many APIs you have tested. How many APIs you have tested over there. So you can just say whatever the count which is there. Okay. Right now, I've just increased it off to, let's say, 27, 28 APIs, whatever coming into picture. But the point that comes into picture is how the framework is created. How did you write your API test? Okay. Today, the team actually released one lecture over there in the LMS, which is the EPAM interview question. And the first question, which is very commonly asked question, is write the snippet for your rest assured script. Write the snippet for your rest assured script. So generally, whenever people try to take interviews, they will see if you're able to write the API scripts or not. That's the first thing, like how exactly you will be using your rest assured library. Now, whenever we are testing any application, the first thing that the developer would be giving to us is this Swagger document. Okay. Creating this document is not a big thing. It's something which is generated by the system itself, but this document will be available. And over here, you see there are various sections: account controller, admin controller, authentication, KYC controller, mock UPI controller, report controller, transaction, user management controller. These are basically what you call as service. Each tab over here is called as a service over here. Okay. So let's say this becomes a service. So in an application, I have authentication as a service. Now, when authentication as a service comes into picture, there are multiple things that can happen with authentication. Someone can log in, someone can create account, someone can say that I forgot my password, right? So this tab which you see is my authentication service section. And if you're not able to remember that part, just open any of these things. You see this area, API /auth, API /auth. This is basically your authentication service that's popping up. What you see over here, sign up, reset password, login, and forgot password, these becomes my endpoint. Now, the thing that comes into picture is I have to test this particular endpoint. Yes or no? That's the most simplest thing that comes over there. Now, when you're talking about APIs, just for a quick revision, data from UI will be given to API, and API is going to give the data or is going to fire a query over the database, and it's going to retrieve the data, and it is going to give the data back to UI. That's what the working of API is. It's like a mediator. Okay. And generally, what this mediator tries to does it tries to create abstraction, or it's trying to hide the direct access to database. As simple as that. The reason we have to do that part is because if you're trying to hide it off, like illegal access to the database is not going to happen. Okay. कोई भी जाके डेटाबेस में ऐसा क्वेरी फायर करके या कोई भी ऑपरेशन परफॉर्म करके डेटा नहीं निकाल सकता, राइट? So that's the thing that comes into picture. Now over here, the thing is, how do I come to know what data needs to be sent? Of course, if there is going to be a Swagger documentation, it becomes pretty easy where I can see these things happening over into picture, that this is going to be the payload, this is the response which will come into picture. And I can cross check the same thing from here also. Let's say I say log out. Now I forgot the password. Just give me a moment. What is the new password over here? Same here. Now over here, this is the UI. If I right click, click on inspect, go to the networks tab. Over here, I will see all the API calls which are happening. Note that you have to be in fetch /XHR tab. You can be in all also, but I am not interested in all operations. Like I don't want to see all the calls which are happening over the network. I just want to see the API calls which are coming into picture. So that's the reason I've written fetch /XHR. Ab maar do sign in. So of course, when I try to do sign in and the credentials is bad, let me just cross check what can be the credentials over here. Is it right? Ah, this is the right one. Okay. I keep on forgetting the stuff. Anyways. So over here, even though the login has happened, but let's go to all, log out. Okay. Sign in. Why it's not showing me? Just give me a moment. Yeah, update the password. Okay. So here you can see the login API call, which is coming into picture. Now you see the credentials over there, which was written was, if I go to the payload, Uday1234, Uday1234, that's the credentials which was there. So the username and password is given from the UI to the API. From the UI, the user would have entered Uday1234, Uday1234, and the credentials would have been given to the API. When API tried to fire the data or fire the query, let's say select star from database where the username is going to be Uday1234 and password is going to be 1234, there would be a response coming. Some entry needs to be there. So when I go to the response, this is the response which is coming back. And the journey over here is that I have to test whether the APIs are working correctly or not. Is this part clear to everyone? Yes or no? Okay. So I know the payload and I know the response which is coming over here, and this is something that I need to test. Okay. Now over here, how to approach this particular stuff. Now we'll go step by step. The first thing that what I want to do over here is, let's say, let's close all the tabs over here. Everything, let's close and one moment. Yeah, perfect. Let's create a new project itself. I'm going to create a new project and I'm going to call this as a Maven based project. So the API automation framework that we have created is a Maven based project. And I'm going to call this particular project as a demo API automation framework because I've already used a lot of words like API framework and all. Okay. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to put it off over here. Now over here, guys, let's click on finish. And where exactly D comes? Yeah, this is where the demo API automation framework comes into picture. So this is your API automation framework, which is there. Now over here, the first thing that I need to do is I need to make sure that I'm updating my Java versions. Better to go for Java 11 version, Java 17 version than to stick to 1.8. So I'm just going to go to build path, configure build path, and make sure you change the version from 1.8 and just click on edit and change it to Java 11. Okay, finish, apply and close. The change has happened. Next, go to the pom.xml file and you have to introduce the dependencies. What dependencies you're going to introduce? RestAssured and TestNG. So if I go to your document, Let's scroll to the first section. Of course, you can go to the Maven repository and all. I'm just trying to keep things simple for now. If I just scroll down, you're going to take these dependencies, pom.xml dependencies, copy it off and paste it off over here. Nothing fancy stuff I've done over here. So I have this rest assured and I have this test ng dependency, which is there. And over here, the only focus right now for me, the entire thing, the entire purpose of my life is to just test this login API. Apart from that, I don't want to focus on anything else. That I have been given this API, I have to make an API request in rest assured, and I have to assert whether the status code turns out to be 200 or not. That's the ultimate purpose of my life. That's all. Okay. And along with that, probably I'll just check whether token and all those things gets generated. Something like that, we can do those things. Now, how do we do that part? Just a quick revision for rest assured for people. Now, whenever you're writing test, you will always be writing the test in SRC test Java. That's the whole purpose. If you are going to write any test, test ng का कोई भी test लिखोगे, वो test आप SRC test Java में ही लिखोगे और कहीं नहीं लिख सकते. Okay? उसका reason भी बता देता हूँ. Because ultimately you want to run your framework and you will be running your framework with the command what? Maven test. Okay. You will write something called Maven, okay, test. And what Maven test is going to do is it's going to run whatever is there over here. So Maven test compiles this particular package and whatever is there in this particular folder and it's going to execute it off. So jitne bhi aapke test hai, it's going to start executing. All right, that's the reason. Now over here, the first thing that I want to do is I want to create a package. So I'm going to create the first package of your automation framework. You want to make a note of this particular package if you want, com.api.test. So all the tests related to my application, particularly my API test, will be available over here. Now, what is the test that we want to focus on? Login API test. So I'm going to quickly create a class. Let's call this particular class as login API test. Okay, let's drop this thing off. Let's zoom in kar deta hu. And what we do over here, guys, is we're going to create a test method. Please be on mute. Public void. Let's say this is going to be login test, something like that. Now, of course, this is a test ng test. So you're going to introduce the test ng annotation. You know, you have to give name and all those things. Okay, just for your revision, I'll put it off over here. Verify if login API is working, something like that. I'll put it off. Okay. Now, sorry, description. My bad. Okay. Now, over here, the story starts over here. I want to test the API. In order to test the API, the library that comes into picture is RestAssured. I have added the dependency of RestAssured into my application pom.xml file. This is where RestAssured is. Now, of course, RestAssured is a class. It's a class. So do I need to create an object of RestAssured? Yes or no? Do I need to create an object of RestAssured? People who are aware of that part.
Yes.
No, you're not supposed to create an object of RestAssured class. And the reason for that is, if I go to the RestAssured class, let's go to this particular class. Arichal. Okay. Observe carefully. If I go to this particular class, guys, all the variables are static in nature. All the variables are static in nature. Scroll down. All the methods are static in nature. Okay. All the methods are static in nature. So this is not a normal class. This is a utility class. What class? Utility class. What is a utility class? A utility class is a class in which all the variables and the methods are going to be static in nature. Okay. All the variables and methods are going to be static in nature. So if you are going to have variables and methods in a class as static, generally that particular class is called as utility class. Like kuch bhi, aisa kuch hota hai kya? The answer is yes. This is something which is there. Now, a lot of things in Java, let's say if you go to a class called, let's say, arrays class. Arrays is a utility class. Look at the package name, java.util. Whenever you are using और डिसाइड टू यूज एरेज क्लास, आप इसका ऑब्जेक्ट नहीं बनाओगे। क्यों? क्योंकि इसके अंदर सारे मेथड्स स्टैटिक है। ओके, सिमिलरली देयर इज अ क्लास इन जावा which is called as math.random. I can say math, which belongs to java.lang, but it is also a utility class. It has all the variables and methods as static. Okay, so utility classes are something which is reusable component. I mean, like, you have to keep on using it again and again anywhere without creating the object. That's the reason. So rest assured is like that. Now, in order to make a login request in rest assured, or let's say I have to make a request in rest assured, I can just say rest assured dot, because variables and methods are static in nature. What I have to use? Given method. This is the first thing that I'm supposed to give. Now, what is the return type of given method? What does given method returns me? Yeah, it's going to give me request specification. This is the return type. Okay, given returns you request specification. So I'm just going to put it off something like this over here. Or let's take it in a much more different way. The first thing that I want to do is I want to give the base URI. So I'm going to say base URI. Okay, what is the base URI of this application? Now, when I was creating this application, I just took things a little bit in a different way. You see, you will not be able to see the IP address of this or the application, the backend ka server path or the IP address over there. Okay, this is for the security reasons. Okay, so only if you are aware of the IP address, you will be able to connect to the backend. Are you getting the point? If you know the IP address, तभी आप API request बना सकते हो. If you try to make it from this particular URL, which is written over here, it's not going to work. So it's a wrapper that is there over here. So we have to rely on this chap now. So let's say the developer says that go and use the Swagger UI, and over here, I'm supposed to enter the credentials to just understand how exactly this login API works. So I'm going to go to this API auth /login. If you see carefully, this is the login API. API auth login. So I'm coming over here. I'm going to say I want to try it off. In the request body, you give the username. What was the username? Uday1234. What was the password? Uday1234. Ab kar do execute. So I am able to see the curl and I'm able to see the response coming into picture. So if I will be entering this particular credentials in JSON format, if the header is going to be content type application JSON, this becomes the the base URL of the application. This becomes the base path and this becomes the endpoint. Is this part clear to everyone? I'm able to see that information over here. Is this part clear to everyone? Perfect. And here I'm able to see the response coming into picture. अब शुरू करते हैं यहाँ से काम. So I know the base URI. I'm going to copy this path, go back to my application. Over here, I'm going to set the base URI. Next thing over here, RestAssured.base URI. This is the first thing. Now, what is RestAssured? It's a class which has methods as static. Now, the next thing I do is I say RestAssured.given method. This is the start because this is what you have to call for making the request. Given method returns you request specification. Now, I'll tell you something which is very important. यहाँ पे return type पे focus करना सबके. Given method is going to return me request specification. So if given is returning me request specification, I want to store it inside a variable. Java is a what do you call typed language. So over here, whatever is the data type, what given is going to give me back, x का data type भी वही होना चाहिए. If given method is returning you integer value, x का data type should be integer. If given is returning me string value, x का data type should be string. But given is returning me what? request specification. So I have to use request specification. Now, the main thing that comes into picture over here is what is request specification? Okay. That can be an interview question. What is the purpose of request specification? If I have to explain you what is request specification in the simplest term, it's written over here. It allows you to specify how the request is going to look. To my request, I have to attach header. To the request, I want to attach body. To my header, to my request, I want to attach authorization token, right? All those things, I can handle it with request specification. So whatever will be the payload, endpoint, your HTTP verb, your body, all those things I want to pass, मुझे request specification को देना पड़ेगा. Is this part clear? So this will take care of how the request is going to look. Okay. Now, over here, I have to attach my header. Okay. My header is going to be pretty simple. So if I go x.header, I can pass the header in key value format. Simple key value format में मेरे को header pass करना है. So what is my header over here? Header is content type is application JSON. This is not really required. Okay, this is something you can ignore it off. Content type application JSON. So I'm going to take this content type. I'm going to attach it to my header. And the second one is going to be application JSON. Just copy this. इसको लगा दो यहाँ पे. लगा दो double quote में. Okay, so the header key and value, you need to give it in the string format. Now, if I bring my cursor to header method, header returns me what? What is the return type of header? You can see after the green dot which is written, it returns you what? Request specification. फिर से request specification दे रहा है. Okay. So over here, let's say I create another variable called request specification. I'll say y. Okay. Now to this y, I want to attach the body. A body is a overloaded method. Same method name, different parameters. You can pass the body from the file. You can pass it in a byte array. You can pass it as a paid model or a POJO object. You can pass it in the form of a string. Okay. Life थोड़ी simple रखते हैं, we'll pass it in the string format. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to take this entire JSON as it is. Okay. जैसा का जैसा पूरा उठाओ. Copy this. Paste it over here. And I'm going to put it in double quotes. And now I have to fix this backward slash. Backward. This is correct. Okay. Body. Just give me a moment. Something went wrong, but here. Yeah.
After password, it's remain.
One remain. Thank you. I'll fix it all. Thank you. Done. Bring your cursor to body. What does body returns you? Request specification. So over here, I'm going to copy this, put it off over here, make it X, Y, Z. And then to this Z, I want to make a post request. And this is where I decide to give my endpoint. So what is the endpoint? This is the chap I'm going to copy. API /auth login. चिपका दो यहाँ पे. Now, if you observe, I have given everything. Whatever I had, I have given this to this chap. Okay. All the things are available at one place. So over here, you have the base URI. You have the base URI. You have the header. You have the body. This is a post request. And this is the endpoint. Whatever things which is required to make the request is available over here. Okay. Now, if you look at the return type of this particular method, just bring your cursor to post method. And if I bring my cursor over here, post is going to return you what? Response. This is where my response comes into picture, and I can say response. Okay. I can just say system.out.println, print me the response as pretty string. Okay, as pretty string, something like that. Now, keeping my fingers crossed, let's click on run and see whether it works. And here you will see that I am able to see the response. I'm not testing anything as such, but over here, I'm able to see the response coming into picture. That this is the token, the type of the token is a bearer token, ID is 3, username is Uday1234, email address is this is a user. And if I go back to my response body, it's the same kind of response, token, type, ID, username, email, roles, and all those things are available. Now, this is the script which I have written, knowing nothing about RestAssured. जो मेरे को रिटर्न कर रहा था, उस रिटर्न का मैंने वेरिएबल बनाया, उसको कंटिन्यू करते गया मैं. So this is my script, how it looks. Okay. Probably you want to do a simplest assertion. I can just say assert.assert equals, which comes from test.ng. And I can say response dot get me the status code, and I can say status code ko 200 hona chahiye. Okay, that's something that I want to check over here. Okay, so if I run this particular stuff, the test runs, it works. But if I just change the status code, of course, it's going to fail. Something like this, if I try to do it, the test is going to fail. Okay, and the reason for this particular failure is going to be assertion has failed because we were expecting the status code to be 200, but we found 2112. Okay. Now, this is actually the premise, the starting point for our framework. You'll be like, Jatin, we have seen this particular script. You have written the same stuff again. The story is also same. You don't change the story also. You always come up with the same stuff, creating X, Y, Z variable and all. Now, over here, RestAssured already implements something which is called as the builder design pattern. Simple time mein bolta. If you have seen or studied what exactly methods are and how exactly methods needs to be created from the LMS topic, I've always said that whenever you are creating a method needs to return something. Okay. Void is never a good return type. Void is never a good return type. In fact, even if you look at the object-oriented part, which I've kept over there, okay, for people, like some people were saying that it's there in Hindi, you just make it a little bit in English. So the entire, from the lecture of object-oriented module, all those things are in English only. Okay, we just decided to change it off over there. So all the lectures are kept in English language. So if you can use it, you can study it from there. So over there, this void return type is a very bad return type. It's not good. Okay. Test can be void. Test can be void. Your main method can be void because they are the only methods that get executed at the end. So kisko return karega? Okay. But any other methods that you call, it's always good that they return something. Even when I have created the page classes, I have always told that make sure the page methods return something. Because if methods are going to return, I can chain them together. Yeah. Do login with so-and-so credentials, return the page object, then you can connect the dashboard page object, so and so forth, if you're able to recollect. That's something that you're supposed to do. So one of the best practices whenever you are creating applications or writing any code ki baba method se kuch na kuch return karwao. In simple terms, this is a method call. If you are calling someone, you expect them to answer it. Hello bologe to hi return mein aana chahiye. As simple as that. Okay. So over here, whenever there is going to be methods which are returning something, you can chain them together. So the script takes a little bit of maturity now. Ki baba, if these methods are returning the same thing, request specification, instead of writing x is equal to RestAssured.given, x equal to RestAssured.given, तो क्या मैं रिप्लेस कर सकता हूं x को इसके साथ? The answer is yes. Y dot body. Y is what? Rest assured dot given dot header. I can take this thing. Can I replace it and put it over here? The answer is yes. Z dot post. I can just take this thing and I can put it off over here. Association, na? If x equal to 10, y equal to x, then y equal to 10. तो अब इस सब को लिखने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. Are you getting the point? Okay. I don't even need to write this line. So instead of writing the same thing again and again, because there is this return type chaining which is happening, you can keep on connecting them together. Rest assured dot given, header, body. Okay, make the post request to the following endpoint, response low, response in the pretty format, printing it off, checking whether the status code is 2112. Let's change it to 200. And this is where we are. Clear to everyone? Yes or no? What I've written so far. Perfect. Everyone in the call. कोई चीज छोड़ी मैंने अभी तक नहीं ना? Yeah. Perfect. Great. Now comes the second concept. See, whenever you are using a class interface which is going to have static methods inside them, it's always better that you do a static import. The only benefit of static import is the readability that comes into picture. So if I go to rest assured class, I am 100% sure ki baba, all the methods and variables are static. I showed you. Okay. So whenever you are using rest assured, make sure that you are doing a static import. Now you'll say, what is the benefit of static import? Kuch nahi, readability. I don't need to write rest assured dot base URI. This line goes away. So the script becomes this, given, header, body, and all those things. So if in interview they ask, why do you do static import for rest assured? The straight away answer is improves readability. Baki, there's no change in the performance and all. You don't have to write the class name dot something. Getting the point? So without class name, I'll be able to access it off. Now, the thing that comes into picture over here is, अब this base URI बेचारा अलग बैठा हुआ है. I don't like this thing over here. कि like, your half of the family is over here. One guy is sitting, fooling around here. So it doesn't look good. So it's always better that you connect this also together. So in your rest assured class, they have created, I don't know why, but they have created a method called base URI. And जो चीज आप पहले यहाँ पे पास कर रहे थे, you can just pass it off over here. Okay, अब semicolon निकाल दो. And you don't need this check. If I run this particular stuff, the output is still the same. So after some time, when you start writing the script, I've always said, don't focus on the output. अब जब script चली रही है, now is the time to optimize it. Is this part making sense? Output is not going to change. अब जो होगा वो यहाँ पे होगा. Clear to everyone? So this is the script which we have written. Okay. And this becomes your first rest assured script. Rest assured script coming into picture. Now, suppose, let's try to think of a bigger number. Tomorrow, right now, at this particular moment, I have 27 APIs to test. Okay. Right now, can we create a class variable if base URI is same for multiple tests? I'll come to that. In a moment. You are close enough. कर लेंगे उसको. ठीक है. That's not the major thing. अभी यहाँ से तो story start हो रही है अभी. So right now, guys, I have 27 APIs to test. Let's try to increase the number. Tomorrow you have 270 APIs to test. Then these many APIs you decide to test. Up, if you try to imagine, this is the test I have written for, this is the script I have written for one API test. If tomorrow the requirement is that go and test a lot of APIs, so I have to write a lot of test scripts, lot of classes will be created. And this is how my script will look. So what's wrong with that? The problem that comes into picture is hard coding. कल को लॉगिन यूजर नेम की जगह पे मोबाइल से होने लगा. OTP login is going to happen. Two-factor authentication comes into picture, and they have modified the login feature. You have to make changes everywhere wherever login scripts are getting called. Yes or no? समझ रहे हो? If there is going to be any slight change that comes into picture in your application, in your APIs, the entire test scripts will get modified. होगा ही होगा. So the problem with this script is that this is a quite brittle script. If I'm using the word correct, brittle मतलब वो टूट जाता है. इसको ये कुछ भी change करोगे ये टूटेगा. And when I say टूटेगा मतलब you have to come and start modifying it everywhere. Okay. This is the problem that comes into picture. Are you understanding the problem statement over here, that what we have written, even though the code works correctly, you are getting the output, but this is not the framework or the test script that you can use. Is this part clear to everyone? Okay. Up. Then we start thinking, what exactly we can do in this kind of a scenario. Then I go back to the Swagger document for a moment, or I start observing something. If you observe the Swagger doc which is in front of you, इधर आपको एक pattern दिखेगा in the way the APIs are arranged and given to you. मेरे पास एक folder है authentication, उसके अंदर 4 APIs है. I have a section called authentication. Authentication becomes a service for me, and this service gives me 4 endpoints that needs to be tested. So if tomorrow any change or any new API is going to come into picture for authentication, वो यहाँ पे ही आने वाली है. If tomorrow there is going to be any modification for login, this section will get updated. So over here, if I tell you guys to imagine this as a class, imagine this as a class, that I have an authentication class, get, post, put, delete, these are all methods, HTTP methods. Forgot password will become a method. Login will become a method. Reset password is going to become method. Sign up is going to become a method. So what I'm able to imagine at this particular moment is I'm going to have an authentication service class which has 4 methods inside them: forgot password, login password, reset login, reset password, and sign up. These are the functionalities of my authentication. Are you able to connect to this thing? Okay. That when I look at Swagger documentation, this is how the structure is given to us. Yes or no? This is the first thing. Unless you imagine, uske bina nahi ho payega ye bhai. Okay. So this is something you need to first connect, that this is what I'm able to see. I'm like, okay. Now, the story starts over here. We again go back to the script. I'm again saying story starts over here. There's another thing that comes into picture over here. Let's go back to the script. Now, the next thing what Swapnil was saying कि बाबा base URI तो सबके साथ common होने वाला है. Right? Because this is common to all my endpoints or my services. This is base URL. It is going to be common to all the services which is coming into picture. So if something is common, okay, and you are able to see that contact controller is going to become a class, admin controller is going to become class, authentication controller is going to become class, KYC controller is going to become class, and there is something common which I want to share it across everyone. How can I do that? You will say either make it static, थोड़ा और उसको better सोचते हैं. I'm able to see that there can be a component coming into picture, which I can call it as a base service, where whatever is common across all these service components, I can keep it off over here. Make sense to everyone? Yes or no? Anything which is common, okay, across all these services, I can keep it in the base service. What can be common? If I go back to my script, given base URI header, ये तो सब जगह आप अटैच करने वाले हो. मतलब आप एक रिक्वेस्ट स्पेसिफिकेशन तो बनाने ही वाले हो. In every test script that you will be writing, will you create a request specification? Will you use the given method? Let's say there are 10-15 test scripts I have written. सब में given method को call करते हैं आप? Yes or no? Will you write given method for all those test scripts? Yes or no? Will this method, given method, would have been called in all the tests? Yes or no? Yes or no? Given method would have been called, na? I have called it over here also for this method. Here also. So the thing is, given method is common. But what is given method giving me? Request specification. So the thing, my dear friends, is base service will be responsible for setting up request specification. Is this part clear to everyone? Is this part clear to everyone? So this is where the new component of your automation framework, or I would say the first component of your automation framework, comes into picture, which is your base service. So let's go back. And what I decide is I decide to create a new package. You can create it in src main Java. You can create it in src test Java. उस पे मैं नहीं आने वाला. जहाँ पे आपको मन हो बना दो. I'll create it in src test Java. I'm going to create this particular package, and I'm going to call this particular package as com.api.base. And over here, this introduces a new design pattern, which is the service object model. Okay. So I'm going to come to that, but I'm going to call first this as API, base service. That's the name of my class. I'll write it down for you what exactly this class is going to do. This class is going to be responsible for handling the base URI. वो जो IP address है वो handle करेगा. Second thing is it is going to be responsible for creating the request. Is this part clear to everyone? It is also going to be responsible for handling the response. Okay? So this is the wrapper for your rest assured. In simple terms, if I have to explain, ये आपका wrapper है for rest assured. Because this is where abstraction starts to come into picture. Hold on, I'll show what happens. Now, over here, the first thing that I decide to do is I decide to create a private string variable called base URL. Okay. And I'm going to initialize this chap with this guy. Yahi to hai na? So I'm going to take it from here. You can take it from anywhere, wherever you want, man. So you can just go to login. Okay. Yeah, this is the chap. You get. Put it over here. Is this a constant? The answer is yes. Constants are always going to be written in uppercase. Okay. If anything is constant, it is going to be marked with final keyword. If something becomes final, usko static hona zaruri hai. Because final will never come alone. Final will come with static for variables, not for methods. Is this part clear to everyone? Is this part clear to everyone? Yes or no? Let's go to the documentation for a moment. Over here. Okay. First, I've added the dependencies just to repeat it off. I created the test. This is my test script. And over here, we are introducing a new design pattern, which is called a service object model. I'll come to this particular document in a moment. Don't worry about it. But over here, this is the base service which you see. Okay. The base service class. And what this base service class, I'm not able to zoom it. Let's. This is the base service class. And what this base service class is doing, it has a instance variable. Here I have just kept the snippet main. I'm doing it over there. Okay. What is this config manager and all? Don't worry. Protected request specification. I'm creating it off. And it is going to have a constructor. By mistakenly, it is written protected. It should be public. Okay. So over here, this will become public. So over here, you just create an instance variable, private request specification, request specification. And I'm going to have a constructor over here, a default constructor. And job of the default constructor, what is the job of the constructor? What is the job of the constructor? To initialize the instance variable. Is base URL my instance variable? Is base URL my instance variable? नहीं है, वो तो static variable है. This becomes a class variable. Only request specification will be initialized. So I'm going to say base request specification equal to RestAssured dot given, because given method returns me the request specification. To this request specification, I will attach the base URL. This over here is the exact same line which you see in the login API test. Yes or no? Isn't this the same line? लिखने का तरीका बदल गया मेरा, बस है वही. Clear to everyone? Yes or no? Exactly. I could have done the static import, but right now I am not like, if you want, you can do that. It's not a big thing. I can just say over here static import. But the only thing is I have changed it off. And instead of mugging up these things, just remember the rule. What is the rule? Request specification is instance variable. कौन करेगा इसको initialize? Constructor. So inside the constructor, I need to create initialize request specification. I cannot create an object of request specification because this chap is an interface. इसका तो बनता ही नहीं object बनना. So over here, whenever you have to create request specification, you have to write given dot base URI and pass the URL. Is this part clear? Yes or no? Can I go ahead? Now, the requirement is कि Baba, I will create a post request. Because if you go to the login API test, कर क्या रहे हो? Over here, you are attaching the header, you are passing the body, and you are making the post request. Out of all these things, the data is hard coded, but आप attach header ही कर रहे हो, you are passing the body, and you are making the post request. So here I am doing 3 method call: header, body, post. So I go to the base service and I will say, कि Baba, I will create a method protected. Post is going to be my method. Or I can say post request. In order to make the post request, I need 3 things: header, body, and endpoint. But I'm only going to give 2. String, body, or use a technical term, payload. Next, what do I need? Endpoint. Okay. Now, imagine request specification was set. इधर ही आपको वो request बनानी है. How would you have made it? Request specification dot over here, I want to attach the body. Body I will pass in the string format. Pass कर दो payload. and I will make the post request to this endpoint. Clear? Is this part clear? I will be giving the payload. I will be giving the endpoint, and over here, this request will be made. Is this part clear to everyone? Yes or no? Is this part clear to everyone? Let me read this stuff. Now, what does post method returns me? What does post method returns you? If I bring my cursor over here, response. Response. Thank you. But I did a cheating. In order to make post request, I need three things: header, next, body, that is the payload, and the endpoint. दो दे दिया, एक बाकी है. So what I can do is I can use something which is the inbuilt functionality called content type, because he was passing the content type as application JSON. So over here, I can use this content type method, and I can just say content type, which is my enum, and content type is going to be JSON. Okay. Arey Jatin, what if I have to attach other headers? Wait, we'll come to that. My major focus is only on login. Apart from me, login कुछ exist नहीं करता और. Okay. So request specification dot content type, it is going to take care of attaching content type as JSON, body, whatever the body I'm passing, and endpoint. Now this entire thing returns me what? Look at the last method, post. Post returns me response. Void is a very bad return type. So now tell me what this request, what this method is going to return me.
Response.
Khatam kahani. Finished. Done. Congrats. Okay. Done. Okay. This is something that we have created. So I've created the base service. And what this base service is, it is a wrapper over your REST assured. In your Selenium, I created browser utility, which was wrapper over Selenium WebDriver. Okay. So in life, whenever you want to make things better, create a wrapper. Now, the next thing that comes into picture. This is the base service. But ऐसा तो मेरे पास बहुत सर्विस पड़ा है. Controller, admin controller, authentication. We are focusing only on authentication. So what we will do over here, guys, is I'm going to create a class inside API base. And I'm going to call this particular class, okay, as auth service. Auth service is going to depict this chap. ये जो टैब बना है ना, इसमें 4 मेथड दिख रहे हैं, ये उसको डिपिक्ट करेगा. Now, auth service is going to have a relationship with base service. So I'm going to say auth service extends base service. Is this part clear to everyone? So the request specification variable, the post method which I have created, I can access it over here. Over here, I am going to create a variable called base underscore u path, base path, sorry. And base path is API forward slash, idhar hai bhai, sorry, niche. Over here, I'm just going to take this path, API forward slash auth. API underscore path, this is constant across all my HTTP endpoints for this authentication service. Forgot password में भी है, login में भी है, reset password में भी है, sign in में भी, API auth, API auth, API auth, API auth. This is constant. Constants are always marked with final keyword. If final आएगा तो static भी आएगा. And we will write it in uppercase. As simple as that. Now, the next thing that comes into picture over here. Auth service has a method called login. I hope this part is now making sense. Auth service is going to have a method called login. Public void login. In order to make a login request, what do I need? I need the payload. है, endpoint भी लगता है, अरे I'll give the endpoint. Login method will internally call the post request. We are going to pass the payload and endpoint will be attached here, because of course if it's going to be login method तो यही करेगा ना. Okay, is this part clear to everyone? So login, I will be passing the payload, and this login method internally calls the post request. I want to ask you, post request return क्या करता है? The post request that we have
Response.
created, it returns
Response.
response. इसको भी बोल दो return कर दे. And if post request return whatever post request is giving, so what will be the return type of this method? Response. And congratulations, you have created your first service. That is the authentication service. Authentication service has an endpoint called login. ठीक है, इसको ही कॉल करेगा. You will be passing the payload. Okay. Now, how exactly my test looks then? It takes me to the third level where I don't need any of these chaps anymore. Login test. Start telling me from the Swagger. Login HTTP or login endpoint belongs to which service? Login endpoint belongs to authentication service. So I have to create an object of authentication service. Auth service has multiple what do you call endpoints. किसको टेस्ट करना था? Login. Auth service dot login. I need to pass the payload over here. So payload, I'll just copy it from here. Okay. And I'll attach it over here. ज़्यादा हो गया. Login returns me what?
Response.
Response. Finish. Story is over here. Response. Response. And I can just say system.out.println. If everything works correctly the way we want over here, I have to put a disclaimer because, you know, like while talking, I can just make a mistake. But let's say if it works, okay. If I click on the run button and if everything works correctly, क्या भाई output आया कि नहीं? No, see, something went wrong, but we'll check on that part. So over here, you see, I'm getting an error, unauthorized. And if I am trying to, let's try to debug what went wrong over here. Let's go to,
It's not
We have to
capturing
use the
base
base
here, right?
smart chart. So just take the bus path over here. Smart logo, bhai. मैं बोला ना, done, finish. Base path plus / login. Now if I click on the play button, okay. If I bring the, tada, done. Okay. So like, क्या benefit मिला? The benefit is from where you started and where you ended. The first test which I wrote was this. The second test which I wrote was this. The third test which I wrote over here is this. बोलेगा फायदा क्या है? फायदा is कि tomorrow if my manager says कि बाबा go and run only authentication service test, तो जितने भी authentication service के अंदर methods होंगे मैं उनको टेस्ट करूंगा. Are you getting the point? So if I'm going to have multiple microservices and out of those microservices, I only want to test certain microservices. I don't want to test all. I just want to test authentication. I want to test only KYC. उनका ही ऑब्जेक्ट बनाऊंगा, उनके ही मेथड्स को कॉल करूंगा. Are you getting the point? Is this part making sense to everyone? So even the segregation, the management becomes better in this approach. This is what you call as your service object model. You use page object model in your UI automation framework. In your API automation framework, you use service object model. So basically, the purpose of service object model is to handle the business logic and application rules. Where did I handle the business logic? Handle kiya na. Authentication service has an endpoint called login. It will make the post request. We will return rest. Whatever you want to test, that is up to you. I will return you the response. You test whatever you want. The next thing that comes into picture is it is only going to have business and service layer. So that's the reason jitne bhi meri services thi, I will create the respective service class for them. Make sense? So whatever you are seeing, now you start imagining ki baba, account controller, this will become my class. It is going to have 3 methods. Post account, account, and pass the account number, account, and it is going to have user. Okay. Admin controller, it is going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 methods. This particular class. Authentication will have 4 methods. User management is going to have 5 methods. Is this part clear? This is how you will structure it off. Yes or no? Is this part clear to everyone?
There's one question here. So if we want to test any flow, like first of all login, then some other API, and then some other, so this type of thing will work in that case?
Of course. You start creating the objects in certain way. First, you will call the authentication ka login API. Then you will create the object of admin controller and you will call that method. Then you will create, let's say, account controller, whatever you want. I have done that particular flow also. I'll show it in probably tomorrow's class or something. Chota sa. But keep on creating the object if you want to see where. Good question. Just give me a moment. Can you see API automation framework? हाँ ऊपर है. First create auth service. You see, I'll come to the script over here. अभी वो बाकी है बताना.
Okay.
I will get the token. You see, I will attach the token to user service. And I'm taking the token from the authentication service. I'm giving it to the user service. अब मैं बोल रहा हूँ जाके वो प्रोफाइल को चेक करो. Make sense? I'm taking the data from then that token I'm giving it to update user profile service. So these are different methods. One method, second method, third method, so on and so forth. Getting the point? So every time I'm creating a different object for that service. Clear? Then वही तो होने वाला है ना फ्लो में. एक सर्विस से डेटा दूसरी सर्विस को जाएगा. Make sense? तो जो
Yes.
सर्विस आएगी उसकी ऑब्जेक्ट्स बनाते जाओ, उसके मेथड्स को कॉल करते जाओ. Okay, that becomes easier.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Can I go ahead? Can I go ahead?
Yes.
But we have a problem here also. You'll be like, Jatin, yaar, hard code kar diya data. Yeah, this is the problem. Hard coding is bad. So over here, we will create the next component of your framework, which you are pretty much aware of. I have taught you a n number of times, which is POJOs. Okay. Another term for POJO for these days, not these days, they technically call it of models. So I'm going to create something called models. com.api.models. And what are models in simple terms if I have to explain you? ज़्यादा stress नहीं लेने का, इसमें कुछ है नहीं ज़्यादा. So if I go to login, open this chat, I have a request payload. I have a response payload. So I will create a request model. I will create a response model. So over here, I have to create a Java class which depicts this chat. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to right click, create a new package, and I'm going to call this as request. कि मेरे जितने भी request के payloads होंगे वो request package में पड़ा रहेगा. Then I'm going to create a new package and I'm going to call this as response. So all my response models will be kept over here. But first, let's focus on request model. And I'm going to call this as login request. And over here, my job is pretty simple. Just create a POJO class. Okay. This depicts username and password. Right click, go to source, generate the constructor using the fields. Right click, go to source, generate the getters and setters. Right click, go to source, Generate the toString method. Done. Can I save it? Yes. Up. Save it. Now we have to go to the API test. And here, the story takes a different turn. Login method requires the data in which format? Login data requires the data in which format? String format. Now, I will be creating a Java object. Okay. Converting Java object into JSON object is called as serialization. Okay. For that, which library comes into picture? Your Jackson, JSON, all those libraries come into picture. But I want to take things to a different level now. Over here, if I ask you, दिस इज जावा कंसेप्ट ओके, ये आपको थोड़ा पिंच ऑफ सॉल्ट के साथ लेना पड़ेगा अगर आपको नहीं पता है। मैं बताया तो पक्की बात है, लेकिन अगर नहीं पता है तो बताता हूं। हु इज द पेरेंट ऑफ लॉगिन रिक्वेस्ट? Which class is the parent class for login request?
Object.
Object class. Object class. First thing. Now, for people who are not aware of this thing, whenever you create a class, now let's say you decide to create a class, you see automatically there is a super class which is written java.lang.object. The other way I look at it is like my nani used to say, जिसका कोई नहीं होता उसका भगवान होता है. So if you don't give it to your, if you don't give a parent to your class, Java gives an implicit parent called object class. Java gives an implicit parent called object class. So object class is like a god class. ये होता है, दिखता नहीं है लेकिन होता है. Okay. So over here, this particular class is going to play a very important role in a moment. So what I am going to do is, instead of passing this like this, I will create a login request project. Okay. That is a login request object. So I'm going to say login request equal to new login request. और जो credentials था ना उदय का, वो यहाँ पे पास कर दूंगा, उदय 1 2 3 4, उदय 1 2 3 4. Okay. And I will pass it off over here. Now, login request को मैं क्या पास कर रहा हूं? Login method को what I'm passing over here? Login request. Login request pojo reference. But this login method requires string value. I'll say I'm going to come over here and I'm going to change it. I'm going to say login request. I'm going to go to the post request and I'll change it to login request. The issue is solved. Okay. If I come back over here, save it, and if I try to run the program, you will see something that is happening over here. The test fails. Of course. What did I expect? Can I pass just a normal Pojo object and it's going to take care of it on its own? But the answer is no, because we have not serialized it. Okay. So cannot serialize object because no JSON serializer found in class path. Please put Jackson, JSON, Johnson, Yasin, whatever these libraries are. Like this library is not there. So I'm going to go to the pom.xml file, my dear friends. I'm going to scroll down. Okay. And what we will do over here is, if you go to the documentation, whenever you are working with Jackson, there are going to be 3 libraries that you are supposed to use. Okay. Those three libraries, just give me one moment here. Those 3 libraries are going to be databind, core, or did I miss something? Annotations. This is something which is wrong over here. I'll fix it off. You need databind, core, and annotation. 3 library aayega. Okay. So this is something that you need to add it off. I'm just going to copy this. Go back to the pom.xml. Introduce these dependencies. Okay. Core and data bind, I have added it off. So if I'm going to click on the play button now, just give me a moment. Yeah. If I click on the play button now, did it work? So when you introduce the Jackson library, you don't have to write the script of converting it into your Java JSON object. Okay, you don't need to convert it into toString and toJSON and put it off over there. It can take it on its own. Is this part clear to everyone? सीधा पोजो ऑब्जेक्ट बनाया पास कर दिया. Provided those two dependencies were there. Is this part clear to everyone? What I've done so far? Yes or no? Is this part clear to everyone? Are we on the same page? So what has changed over here, which is something which is interesting, that you are not serializing it by yourself. Inbuilt RestAssured is taking it for you. But you have introduced a major problem. Yeah, output aa raha hai, what can be the problem? The problem is, if I go to the login, this is fine, you are passing the login request. Okay. The post request method, which is should be a generalized method. कल को कोई और सर्विस पे भी आपको पोस्ट रिक्वेस्ट बनाना पड़ सकता है. There is not one endpoint which has post request, right? So I have to make forgot password. So that forgot password, I have to pass a pojo which is just going to have email. Make sense? तब क्या करूंगा? एक और मेथड बनाऊंगा? No. So the rule of Java says, whenever, remember this, like generally people don't talk about it like this, so but remember it, this is a rule over here. Did you create the object of login request? My question is to you this. Did you create the object of login request? क्या मैंने स्क्रिप्ट में login request का object बनाया? Yes or no?
Yes.
बनाया? This cannot be the parameter. If you are going to create a method, okay, and you will be deciding to pass a class reference over here, जिसका ऑब्जेक्ट बनाते हो उसका कभी रेफरेंस नहीं पास करते, उसके पेरेंट का पास करते हैं. ओके. सो if I will be creating an object of login request, okay, in this particular method, I have to make sure that this method is loosely coupled so that it's like a Lego piece. Tomorrow, if you give me a different pojo, I should be able to handle it. You will pass the parent reference over here. Who is the parent of login request? Object. So just change one word from login request to pojo and you make this particular method loosely coupled. So tomorrow, if I'll be calling the forgot password, उसका payload भी अगर मैं pass करूंगा तो post request चलेगा. Provided I'm giving the endpoint correctly. That's it. Okay. So this is what you need to do whenever you try to create a universal method. It should handle it properly. This is what you call as polymorphism. जिसका फॉर्म आए उसके हिसाब से हैंडल करो. ठीक है. And now you see I still don't have any compilation error. It works. Okay. But this method has become loosely coupled now. सबके लिए चलेगा. All right. So I save it, run it. The output should not change. Life is good. I'll need 20-30 minutes more. Over here, guys. Did you understand the script so far, what I've written? Okay. Look at the 4 lines. Is this 4 lines clear to everyone? Is this part clear to everyone? Perfect. Now, the next thing that comes over here is If serialization is there, deserialization will come into picture. I have to deserialize this response now. So I have to create a model for the response. I'm going to create a class in the com.api model.response, and I'm going to call this particular class as login response. Login response. Okay. फटाफट बना देते हैं इसको private string token type is going to be string because type is storing bearer. What will be the type for ID? What will be the data type of integer? Beta integer. Okay, integer. Username string. Oh. Then we have email. Don't change the variable names. Whatever is the this key name given, just use the same stuff. Roles is what? Roles is what? Array. Array. JSON array. What you can do is you can create a list of string. You can create an array. It doesn't really matter, but I'll create a list of string. And I'm going to say roles. Kahani khata. Nothing. That's it. Okay. Because it just has a value roles. Okay. If it was having another JSON object, then I have to create a JSON object model for that also. Okay. We don't have that. So I'm going to right click. This is something which I've created. Right click source, generate the constructor using the fields, generate, right click source, generate the toString method. Generate the toString method. Okay. And I also need the getters and setters. Save it, save it. Now let's go back to the login request 3 because it's time to deserialize it off. So over here, if I want to deserialize it, I can just say response dot as, and over here you are supposed to pass the class reference. जो response आ रहा है उसका कोई model बनाया मैं login response. So I'm going to say response of login response dot class. This chap is going to give me a login response object. So over here, this was the login request object. We created a login request reference variable. So now I'll be creating like what is the benefit of it? That I can retrieve individual values. I can say login request, login response dot. What do you want? Token. Get me the token. Let's click on the play button. If life is good, it should print the data. Pata. And the reason for the failure is because it does not have a default constructor. I know that particular issue, but the thing is you need to create a default constructor. So if I go back to the login response one more time, kuch mat karo, ye isko aise kaise raho. Just create a default constructor. What is a default constructor? A constructor which does not have any parameter. It's called as a default constructor. Finish. Okay, done. Can you see the token value which is getting printed? This is the entire JSON object. उसको मैं deserialize किया and I'm printing get me the token. I got the token. If tomorrow you say that get me the username, can I get it? Yes, we have the getters and setters. उसी के लिए तो बैठे हैं वो लोग कि individual values निकाल दो. I can say login response dot get me the what? Email. System.out.println. What else you want? Login response dot get me the ID. So email address, ID, token, all these things will be printed. Raj@gmail.com is the email address. 3 is the token. Can I test all these things? Yes. Assert dot assert equals. What do you want to test? Take this chap, put it off over here. Token to chodo yaar. Token ko I think we can check whether it should be not null. Okay. So I'm just going to not equal to null. Okay. And then it is going to become true because it's an alphanumeric number, right? You can't really check on that stuff. So the next thing that comes into picture is I want to check for email, and email next is what? ID. Done, bro. Finish. Okay, first I printed it off. You don't really want to print it, but just want to show it. Okay, sure. The thing that comes into picture is this as is a special method, and the job of as method is it is going to convert the response body and map it into Java object. तो उसके लिए आपको पहले आपका पोजो क्लास बनाना पड़ेगा. Okay, and internally it is going to call your JSON utility, Jackson utility, my bad. Okay, so over here, whatever is the response body that you will be getting, okay, it is going to convert that JSON object into Java object, and it is going to return that Java object of that particular class. आप बोल रहे हो उसको कि login response में convert कर, तो वो आपको login response का ही object बना के देगा. So if it's going to give me a login response का object, store किस में करोगे? Login response का reference variable में, right? That's all. Clear?
Yes.
How to make .env file when we have different environment and base URLs. Why do I need a default constructor? That is the requirement of Jackson. In your class only, I showed you that part. Ki whenever you are working with Jackson, it requires a default constructor. JSON को नहीं लगता. Okay. Over here, just to explain this particular line, just for your simplicity, response आपको कौन से format में आ रहा है? It's coming in a JSON format. The purpose of as method is to convert your JSON object into the Java object of your type. So over here, what it is going to do is whatever the response which will come into picture. Okay, I am saying convert it into the Java object of login response. So this entire line actually returns you this. अब अगर ऑब्जेक्ट बन रहा है तो आप उसको स्टोर भी तो उसके रेफरेंस में करोगे, राइट? दैट्स व्हाट इज गोइंग टू हैपन. मेक सेंस? Could you please show the auth service class and serialization done? I haven't done the serialize. Okay, I'll show you the class. I'll just walk through the entire code. But before that, I'll just take one question which is there. How to make .env file when we have different environments and base URL? वो थोड़ा अलग हो जाता है. I'll take that part later. But the same thing, we have done it in the property files. There's something called as Maven profiling. I got your question over here, but the best way to handle it off is not via Java code, but with Maven profiling. So just to explain you in simple terms, what Maven profiling gives you the functionality is I can create one profile for dev environment, one profile for QA environment, one profile for UAT. Okay, that is something you can do. वो भी नहीं करना है. If you go to the tell it info question, over there I had created system properties. When you're going to run your program, Maven run, or okay, and you're going to pass those things, the parameters and all those things. So that time I can pass the environment. Let's say I write over here dev. So I have to create a structure in such a way. I have to write the code in such a way that it start picking up the dev property file in which you will have your respective base URL. Tell it का fourth या fifth part देखना उसमें पड़ा है. Okay, that's where I have solved that particular stuff. Okay, you will find it over there. If you want to go with that particular stuff, profiling, I'll keep it off over there. Could you please show the auth service class? Okay, I'll just go through the entire question one more time.
Jatin, can I ask one question?
Uh-huh.
So if you have in one environment, even for one environment, my base URL is a different.
Mhm.
As per those different services has a different base URL.
Base
So
URL, different services.
yeah, just like I'm in telecom, so for the OS means a provisioning API has a different base URL. Something like deactivation, activation has a different URL. So all means base
Makes sense.
URL is different.
Make sense. तो फिर आप उसको यहाँ पे मत करो ना. आप क्या कर सकते हो? See, if you look at, you have to focus it on the base layer itself. In the constructor, I am setting the base URI. अब अगर मैं इसको निकाल देता हूँ, ठीक है? Base URI, you are setting it off over here, ना? I can put it into the respective path. ठीक है? यहाँ पे ही मैं इसको set कर दूंगा. And I will pass it to the request also. Make sense? So when I'll be making the post request, I will pass the endpoint also, along with the base URL. Getting the point? तो आपको यहाँ पे करने की जरूरत नहीं. Here only the things which are common I have kept. So if tomorrow you say that ki baba no, the base URI will be different for all the services, let's say auth service is there, I have user service also coming into picture. So that time what I will do is I will try maybe overload this particular method for now, and I can just say that I will be giving the base URL and the script remains the same. Request specification dot base URI. Pass kar do base URI. Make sense? And this particular base URI, I will be creating it as a variable over here, because tomorrow if I want to make any change, I can take it from here. Are you getting the point?
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
Because see, if your class, let's say if your service class have their respective data, वो इसी class में पड़ा रहना चाहिए. As simple as that. Just to take this particular question a little bit over here, because it's a good question. Let's say I have different services which are running on different IP addresses or different containers. So over here, let's say this works on something, let's say as 139.59.91.96. This works on 64.84. Okay. Dot 71.96. I don't know. This is 192.168.91.91, something like that. This is auth service. This is user service. This is going to be, let's say, UPI service, something like that. अब हमने तो डिसाइड कर लिया कि auth service का डेटा उसके अंदर ही मिलने वाला है. That's the reason base path was something which was common only to auth service के जितने भी endpoints थे. I created over there. Now, if this information is also related to the auth service, so Baba, it has to sit here only, na? I have to create it over here. I cannot give it to the base service. But what is common across all these services? Ki Baba, you will be making the post request. You will be making the get request. You will be making the put and patch. And ये सारी request को जब आप बनाओगे, you will be getting the response back. Make sense? Is this part making sense now? So
Yeah,
when
thank
you
you.
have those
Yeah.
informations, you can keep it in the respective classes. Okay, and then pass it off over there. Yeah. I hope I've answered it off. Now, just to
Yeah,
take,
thank you. Yes.
this is the entire documentation, guys. If you don't have any questions, you can leave it off. Leave for now. Pretty late for you guys. You can just go through this entire documentation, what I've written over here so far for day 2 or day 1. In tomorrow's class, I'll just probably just focus on logging, reporting, and you know, filters, all those things which requires listeners and all. Running the test in parallel mode and something, all those things I'll do it off. All right, so that's something that I'll be doing it in tomorrow's class. If you guys are free, you can follow the document and you can practice it off by yourself. Okay, see if you're able to do it. Okay, whether you want to run a particular suite, whether you want to run it in the parallel mode, whether you want to run a certain service. That's the most important thing. Because if tomorrow I just want to run auth or user service, I can just do that. Okay, that's something that we have complete control on. So that's the thing.
Jatin, tomorrow can you take one flow like for 2-3 APIs that you have shown earlier?
2-3 APIs. Yeah, I'll do that part. Okay. Now, of course, you will not get it for the first time because unless you have written the code over here, Akshay. But the thing is, थोड़ा करोगे तो ही आएगा. ठीक है? इसको थोड़ा step by step follow करते रहना. Now, the flow. What we have built so far. If I go back to the log and request 3, guys, I've created the auth service. The auth service is going to have its respective base path. And inside this base path is API /auth. Okay. So over here, this is API /auth common everywhere. So you have to make sure that this layer is there everywhere. Next thing, inside the auth service, I have this login method. That is the login endpoint. So uska maine method banaya. Internally, it calls the post request from the base service, which is this char. Over here, there is no serialization happening, no deserialization happening. Nothing is happening over here. Okay. Now, over here, request specification, content type, body, payload. The only change that I have made over here is my payload is of object type. Whoever has asked this particular question is of object type. Why object type? Because I have a login request Pojo class. Who is the parent of this particular class? Object. So whenever you are passing parameter of a particular class, जिसका object बनाते हो ना, उसका type नहीं देते, उसके parent का type देते हो. That's the reason, like you have those, when you're doing inheritance, you write something like this, person P equal to new student. Okay. Because it is going to give you the flexibility of polymorphism coming into picture. Okay. This is something that we always do. So जिसका object बनेगा, उसका parameter नहीं होगा, उसका data type नहीं बनेगा, उसके parent का बनेगा. Okay. So over here, the next thing that comes into picture is I have created the object of login request. You're like, why you did not write object over? It doesn't matter for me because it's even if you put object over, it will still work. So over here, auth service, I'm doing login. I'll be getting the response. Now, when we are passing or calling the login request, I'm directly passing the login request reference. It's directly getting passed. Now, RestAssured takes care of your serialization and deserialization internally. वो खुद से कर लेगा. So for that, you just need to make sure that your libraries, Jackson or JSON, whatever you are using, it should be added and kept. Is this part clear? So data bind and core, I have added it off. So these two things should be there. The next thing that comes into picture over here is when I'll be getting the response back, I will deserialize the response by calling the as method. Response, I'll be getting it in the JSON format. I want to convert it into the object, Java object of a certain class. So all the request and response, I've kept it over here in the model section. Models.request consist of all the request payload and models.response consist of all your response payload. जो भी response मिलने वाला है उसका payload यहाँ पे मिलने वाला है, just for the management sake. And then once I get the response, this is just to show the pretty response. Okay, once I deserialize it, response.get token is going to get me the token. Login response.get email is going to get me the email of the response. That is raj@gmail.com is getting printed over here. Right? And then is 3 coming into picture. That is ID is going to be 3. As simple as that. Okay. So I want you guys to at least practice day 1 and come tomorrow. Else वरना कुछ sense नहीं बनने वाला है. Clear to everyone? Is this part clear to everyone?
Yes.
Try to write the code for the same. Okay. Whatever, at least don't go and start writing your own code over there. The first goal is whatever I have written, write that part first by yourself. Okay. अभी बना ही नहीं है lecture, upload कहाँ पे करूँ? Okay, I'll have to first stop this meeting. Okay. So the same solution will be uploaded in the LMS in the future, in the LMS, probably in the month of December or January or something like that. This lecture I'll upload it in the Zoom meeting and all. Okay, in the Zoom sections of the respective batches. All right. So other people you can use it over there. All right. I'll discuss it in the LMS itself, how to handle the SSL certs and all. We don't have that scenario right now, right? So it's कुछ भी बोलूंगा तो ऊपर से जाएगा. So if certs and all those things comes into picture, there's a, like you have to have that connection key, like this is how you are supposed to pass it off and all those things. I'll discuss that part later. Okay. Tired. कुछ समझ में आया कि ऊपर से गया सब? Okay. Will you be able to explain these things? Practice it off, but you make sure that you are able to answer it off for interview. Okay. तुम्हारे तो ऊपर से जाएगा यार. ट्राई कोड लिखो थोड़ा अक्षय यार. Okay. Type करोगे तो ही आएगा. Other people in the call. Is this part clear to everyone? How many? 60, 70%. Perfect. अरे बाप रे, इतना confidence मेरे को कभी खुद पे नहीं आ रहा है. ठीक है. ठीक है. All right. So this is something like the reason I had to take this particular stuff, guys, right now is as I've said, like start hard. You need to keep on applying for interviews and all, right? So this is just the end-to-end solution, just like how I've done it for Telit. You practice this part over here. Okay. Probably this lecture will take a little bit time to come in a different, better quality on the LMS and all. Probably on the LMS, I'll solve all the services. Okay. And those things. But for you guys to get started, what are the various components of your API automation framework and all those things? इतना भी बना के अगर आप लोग उसको अपने GitHub में डालोगे ना, it's more than enough because you're able to explain this thing off. One more thing, like I'm not using a MacBook यार, I'm Windows वाला बंदा यार. कहाँ इतने पैसे नहीं मिलते यार. ठीक है. So
सर जतिन 90 डेज का हडल कैसे पास करो सबसे बड़ा
नहीं होगा भाई. There's no hurdle as such. I'll tell you what, the only thing, I don't know if most of the time I just tell people कि fake it. तुमको पता है 90 days है, मेरे को पता है 90 days है, कंपनी को नहीं पता. तो at least for certain interviews, just so that you get that experience of giving the interviews, na, you start giving, like you fake it off. I'll be very honest. उसके अलावा और कोई solution ही नहीं है.
Okay.
Even the reason is there is a lot of folks, it's like left right swipe coming into picture. सबके पास options है दुनिया में.
बट सामने से वो मांगता है ना कि आप एक महीने ज्वाइन करोगे तो वो आप, और कुछ कंपनी रेस्पेक्टेड पहले जानती है कि आप SCL हो, TCS हो, 90 डेज से पहले.
You can say you're serving notice period. I usually tell them you're serving notice period. You got an offer. Finish it off. Khatam kahani. I used to just say the same thing. I tell the folks same itself. And even if they ask you, like, show me the offer letter, you're bluntly supposed to say no. Zyada se zyada, they'll not take the interview. Na? As simple as that. But at least the point that comes into picture is, see, these days, when the market looks a little bit desperate and all those things, when like there's too many people who are giving interviews and all, you have your own stand. Ki baba, this is my company. This is professionalism, that I cannot show the what do you call, the offer letter and all, unless like there's a tangible offer that I'm getting from you guys. मैं काय को दिखाऊं? And first, I'm not supposed to show it. Are you going to judge me on the salary offer that I'm getting, or I'm going to be judged on the knowledge that I'm having? Okay. You have to say these things, Baba. दुनिया बहुत जालिम है. भाई, I'm telling you this part.
Yes.
Indian IT market is Indian, what every IT market is like this only. Unless you know that this is what I deserve, okay, other people are not going to give it to you guys. Trust me on that. चाहे वो personal life में हो, चाहे वो professional life में हो. This is going to be the same stuff. Max to max, they'll only think कि बाबा अरे this guy is taking, like ये चला जाएगा तो पीछे और चार आएंगे. But I just want to make sure that if I am giving the interview over there, they should feel कि बाबा this person is always going to be an asset to the organization if he or she joins in. Okay. So your major goal is to make sure that when you're giving the interviews, you know all the things in and out. That's the reason build projects. वो टेलेट का सॉल्व करो, उसको बताओ कि बाबा ये मैं पीओसी बना के रखा हूँ, इसको यूज कर सकते हो. You solve this particular stuff, you build it off, show it off to them. This is how like I can plan it off over there. Okay. And always come, like whenever you are answering any questions in interview, you always say that this is the case study or this is a kind of scenario that you have faced in your office project. As simple as that. Yeah. Yeah, Swapnil.
Yeah, hi Jatin.
क्या बोलता है भाई? हाँ बोलो.
Actually,
हाँ
actually I recently got new job
हाँ हाँ.
and yeah, I just went to the same process. Like I used to tell HR that I'm serving notice, I have offer, and like the same thing I followed. And first I took offer from TCS and then I resigned. And after that, like I kept telling the HR that I have only 1 month notice period. So like interviews were lined up because of that.
Hmm.
And ultimately I had like many offers in hand,
That's the
and
only
like I
thing.
have joined recently.
Which company you joined recently now?
ThoughtWorks.
Sorry?
ThoughtWorks.
Okay, ThoughtWorks.
Yeah.
Okay, ThoughtWorks. Good. Okay. For
Yeah,
some
they
reason, I don't know, WeWork popped up into my thought. WeWork में कहाँ से आ गया भाई? Okay. Okay. That's nice, yaar. All life is good over there. The on-site का try
yeah,
करो उसमें. But this
yeah,
is
but
one benefit I like sorry, just to cut people off over here. Just remember one thing, guys. Like people hate me for saying that part, but keep on changing the job after 1 year. Unless you are doing that part, there is no way, you know, you will reach the level you want over there. Some people like, I want to stay in a company for 2-3 years. Nothing. Inflation is rising, bro. So उतना नहीं चलता है भाई. ठीक है. So make sure, even if they say that the hike is going to be good or something like that, unless this is the thing which I tell to most of the folks, unless they're telling you guys to that you are going on site, or like um you are getting a better increment or something, रुकने का सेंस नहीं बनता. 10% हाइक पे तो 50% तो मिनिमम सैलरी हाइक हो ही जाता है, राइट? सो इट डजंट मेक सेंस टू स्टे ओवर देयर. या, व्हाट आर यू सेइंग, स्वप्निल?
yeah, actually, and they have like that's why I asked. Like I saw you open notes in between of the class, so I thought you are also using MacBook. So they have given MacBook, and I'm not able to use it at all.
भाई मेरे को
Like
भी,
from
मैं नोशन यूज कर रहा हूँ भाई. ठीक है, और कुछ नहीं है वो. ठीक है. सो दिस इज जस्ट द
okay.
नोशन ऐप, सो यू कैन लाइक जस्ट द प्लेस वेयर आई हैव केप्ट द नोट्स फॉर यू गाइस. ओके. नोट्स
Mhm.
सीख जाओगे यार, अभी तो एप्पल वाले हो, भी तो कर लोगे यार. ठीक है. ओके. एनी अदर क्वेश्चंस गाइस? Do share me the questions, Swapnil, whatever they have asked you. Just WhatsApp me those things.
Okay. And do we need to create account on the Swift.tech with Jatin?
Swift, बना
I
दे
don't.
उसपे. Yeah, you can do that part. There's nothing as such. Like you can use your own credentials. Previously in Phoenix, I used to give the credentials. Over here, you can create your own account. Okay, you can handle those things off by yourself. Okay, that's something that you can take care. Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions, guys? Monica, did I give you the end-to-end solution for the API? I thought you did not join today. Yeah.
Yes, Jatin, it is very
Okay.
useful.
So I'll
Right.
you have to practice it up. Tomorrow I'll give the project to you guys. I'll tell the folks to, like create a one shot big lecture only and give it to you guys. So you can use it over there. Okay. So make sure you guys you practice this particular stuff, whatever we have built over there. इसको करने से होगा वरना नहीं होगा. That's the only thing I can say on this part. I can just build it once and I can show it over there. But the point is, tomorrow's class, I will wrap up with the user management system, change password, profile, and all those things. Okay. The different HTTP verbs. So all these methods will be created in the base service layer. I'll create the user management. Okay. And I think looking at what we need to do, I need one more lecture probably on next Saturday. I'll update you on that part. उसका guarantee नहीं है, but मैं बता दूंगा. Because unless I don't want to push it off to the next level. So we'll stop over here for today, guys. This lecture, I'll put it in most of all the batches. Okay. And I'll tell these guys to create one combined lecture and it will be there in the self-paced section. Please, you have the notes. Okay. So try to practice it off tomorrow. Okay. So that's something that you guys can do it at your end. All right. Niharika, समझ में आया ऊपर से क्या? Okay. Parul, long time no see. All good? Okay.
Jatin,
Uh-huh.
have you shared this Swagger link? Sorry, I missed that.
That's the first link in the document. If you go up, all the way up.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
take care. Bye-bye. All right,
Thank
guys,
you.
take care. Thank you so much. Good night. Take care. Bye-bye. Today's class. This is going to be the second part. I wanted to complete the entire framework for today, but then there was a request that they wanted end-to-end flow. So what I'm going to do for today is I'll write the test scripts. Little bit test scripts, I'll write it off for you guys for one flow. So you understand how it's going to work. The listener and all, I'll try to implement it in the next class. Okay. So next Saturday also there will be a session. The link will be same. Okay. So that's the only thing that I wanted to give a quick update on. Yeah. Yes, Komal. Arey, message delete kar diya karo. Else what happens is people will think the class did not start. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so let me just share the screen. Hmm. Let me know if you're able to see the screen right now. Okay.
Yes, Jatin.
I'll probably be using this particular document itself. Theory, I think so. You guys can read it off over there. There's nothing fancy about that stuff. Not something major. I have added it off. We were able to complete yesterday only till authorization service and all. Day two. Yeah, day two. I've just changed it off. The thing which was required for day three, I moved it at the end now. So I'll just focus over here. I'll parallelly be updating this particular documentation. There's some spelling mistake which I need to fix. I'll do those things. Now, this is the flow of the application, just the state diagram that I've given over here. First, the user logs into the application. That is he or she is going to be using the authentication service. So let's say the user decides ki Baba, I will be doing login. So he or she is going to use the login API. Once once they use the login API, they will be logged into the application. And from there, they can go to the profile management. They can change the password, they can get the profile details, they can update the profile details, so on and so forth. Similarly, authentication service has different option. If I'm trying to sign up into the application, let's say my account gets created, I'll again use the sign up. And the moment I sign up, I will be able to log in into the application and then I'll be able to use the profile management service. If I'm saying forgot password, what happens in forgot password? I will be using the forgot password API it is going to send an email to your inbox, and from there I have to reset. I have to click on the link and it will reset the password. Generally, that's what happens for security purpose. So when you look at authentication service, there are one, two, three, four endpoints or four actions or operations that can be done. Okay. And when you look at project profile management, you can delete the account, you can update the details. Okay. One API name got deleted over here. This is going to be modifications that you can use in your account. So for example, let's say if I decide to go to this particular application, yeah, my voice is breaking. We'll fix it right away. Just a minute. I started the extension, but I did not connect to it yet. It should not break now. All good. Yes. Is my voice breaking now? No. ठीक है ना?
Yes, as of
Okay.
now, good.
Oh, good. No, that's वही रहना चाहिए बस बाकी और कुछ नहीं. All right, cool. So over here, let's say this is the logged in user. If I try to click on sign in, I forgot my password. I think I updated the password. But Uday 1 2 3 4 5. Uday 1 2 3 4 5. Bad credentials. Anyways, I'll just reset the password in front of you guys. So this is a normal scenario. I forgot my password. So technically, I will be going to the forgot password option where I need to give my email address. Okay. Please be on mute, Ray Rahul here. So over here, I have to give the email address for this particular account. I did change the email address. So let's say if I go to this particular account and I go to Gmail, let's select this particular account. Okay. I am going to enter the email ID over here and I'm going to click on send instructions. Now, if I'm not wrong, there is a link which is there. Yeah. You see an error message popping up into picture. Now, over here, the reason I'm getting this error message because there is already a link which is sent to my account at 9:08. Okay. That please use this particular link to update the password. So I'm going to just click on this link and I'm going to give the new password over here. So let's say the new password is going to be temp1234. Let's keep it Uday only. Uday1234. Uday1234. Let's click on reset the password. The password has been updated. Okay. So this is one of the flow. Let's say if the user has forgotten the password, he is just going to go to the forgot password option. I'll just take away this option of muting yourself. Mute all. And perfect. Okay, you won't be able to unmute yourself. Just put the questions in the chat box. So over here, guys, now that my account password has been updated, okay, if I try to enter this thing, Uday 1234, I should be able to log in into the application. Is this part clear to everyone? Nothing fancy, just the normal flow, how you do it off all the time. That you forgot the password, you click on the forgot password, and then the email was sent to the user account, and from there you have updated the password. All right, this is something normal we do all the time. Now, over here, once the user logs in, you see, I did a forgot password. My password was updated. I came back over here. I did a sign in, and now I am in the dashboard page. So when I go to this particular dashboard page right now, what you'll observe, there are multiple services. Each tab over here is a different service. Okay. So out of this thing, my major focus is on profile. So when I go to profile, I can do a lot of things over here. That is, I can update the username. Okay. I can update my email address. So the email address right now is this. I can update my mobile number as well as I can update or change my address. Okay. Along with that, there are few other APIs which are not being shown on the UI. Like if I want to delete my account, I cannot delete it from here. But I have created a service, I have created an endpoint in the user management where the user can be deleted. Is this part clear to everyone? So you can change the password. Okay. So if I go to change password, this is the one which comes into picture. This change password, I have to enter my current password and I just can give a new password over here. Okay. So this is the change password API that we have. Then you can get the profile details. So if I go to the profile section, name, email, mobile number, address, whatever it is, these are the things which are coming because of the get profile details. Make sense to everyone? Put profile, I want to edit the profile. अब इस पे edit पे click किया, mobile number को change कर दिया. I give a different number over here. Let's say 9869237 and I click on save the changes. The profile details are getting updated. Okay. I can change the name if I am required. So all these things, this is the profile user management service which is there. Clear to everyone? Is this part clear to everyone? What are the things which are there? Okay. Apart from that, I probably want to create an account. Yesterday people were telling me like कोई email डाल दिया सीधा. अरे इधर दिख रहा है option लिखा है don't have an account, sign up. Okay, so click over here. You can create an account. So when I'm trying to enter username, email address, password, confirm password, okay, and I enter my personal details, then in your authentication, your sign up API will be called, because sign up API requires all these things: username, password, email, first name, last name, mobile number. Is this part clear to everyone? तो जब आप लोग ये वाले सेक्शन को यूज करते हो, you create or you use this sign up API coming into picture. Now it totally depends on the flow of the application. What do you want? Like what kind of a service you are trying to create? So let's say my manager says, "Ki Baba," or let's say there is a requirement, you need to check the complete authentication service. We'll go step by step. Rather than, see, when you're testing APIs ना, एंड टू एंड फ्लो जाने से पहले आप पूरा उस सेक्शन को कवर कर लोगे तो बेटर रहेगा. ओके. So if I want to go to that particular state diagram that I want something, all these things to come into picture, you just make sure that you have everything about authentication service tested. So individually, I can check whether the authentication is working correctly or not. Are you getting the point? Then I will have another section for profile management service. So all the APIs which are going to be related to profile management, I'll be testing that. And then I will be connecting them together. Makes sense to everyone? फिर मेरे लिए बहुत simple है, because then I can just create objects and I just need to call those methods. Is this part clear? So what we will do first is we will go back to the application that we have created over here. And step by step, we'll start it off. Don't look over here. This is something which I was trying it off for today. Let's close all the tabs. Close all. And we were having this demo API automation framework. If I go to this SRC test, yesterday we created the auth service. Now, auth service mein, there are few things that we have done. Auth service extends the base service. If I ask you what is the purpose of base service is just a wrapper over RestAssured. So all your RestAssured methods are popping up over here, and that is something that I can use it off. Now, whether I want to make post request, whether I want to make your put request, your get request, वो सब चीज I will be taking care it over here only. As simple as that. Okay. Now, yesterday someone had asked me that, okay, the base URL is something, if it's going to be different, how I'm going to do it off. But let's just focus on this particular application. So given in the constructor only, I'm just going to say set the base URI, and I can just give the base URL, whatever is the URL of the application. So I don't want to use this particular method. I have just overloaded it. If you want, you can use it off, but I won't be using this. Now I will not come to the base service class unless there is a requirement. अभी तक अपना काम चल रहा है अच्छे से. Because if I go to the Swagger UI, the authentication only takes care of post. There's only post HTTP verb. So I have already taken care of for post. As simple as that. So I will not modify the base service unless there is going to be a get, put, delete HTTP verbs popping up into picture. Is this part clear to everyone? When there is a requirement for making a different API request, that time you will be making changes in the base service class. Is this part clear? Can I go ahead? Okay. Yes, no? Perfect. Now, what we need to do in this scenario, over here is we are going to go to the auth service. And in authentication service, yesterday we introduced login. But now I want to go for something else. I want to go for, let's say, sign up. This is the thing which I want to test. As simple as that. मेरे को check करना है कि sign up API is working correctly or not. So what I need to do, we will go step by step. The first thing is over here in the login, in the auth service, I will create a method and I will call this particular method as sign up because that is the name of the endpoint, sign up endpoint, right? Now, the payload of sign up. If you look at the payload of sign up, that is sign up request payload. The username is there, password is there, email is there, first name is there, last name is there, mobile number is there. So what I need to do for this chap, I need to create a what? Model, right? We need to create a model over here. So how we can create it off? Just copy this thing. Okay. I'm going to go back to your framework. We have to go to the com.api model.request because we are handling the request right now. And over here, I will be creating a new model for the request. And I'm going to call this as sign up request. Okay. Up. This is what I want to introduce. So quickly, we'll create a Pojo class out of it. Control F. Okay. Find me a double quote, replace it with nothing, replace all. Find me a colon, replace it with a semicolon, replace all. बाकी का उड़ा दो. Okay. Once you get comfortable with all these things, now you can use your chat GPT and all those things. I generally don't like to use it in the class. मतलब फिर sense नहीं बनता ना, फिर तो मैं सीधा copy paste करके आगे बढ़ते जाऊंगा. You need to understand how and why you are creating it first, because then in coming years, it's just going to be copy paste, and you just need to make sure that these things gets created quickly. All right. So now what I want to do is I want to make sure that these are going to be instance variable. And when I'm saying that this is going to be instance variable, they will be marked as non-static. That is, static keyword will not be there, and it is going to be this. Okay. So I'm going to copy this chap, paste it over here. Now, what do I want in life? I want to create this as a Pojo class. So I'm just going to right click, go to say and generate a constructor using the fields. Right click, go to source, generate getters and setters, select all, generate, right click source, generate the toString method. Is there anything that you did not understand what I've done over here? Why did I create sign up request? Is this part clear to everyone over here? Yes. Okay. Everyone is the same thing. The story remains the same. Kabhi change ही नहीं की story मैंने. Okay. I created the same story in the teled when we wanted to create Pojo classes. I created it over here. But today, let's do something different also. I want to introduce something which is called as a builder design pattern in this scenario. Now, over here, if you look carefully, मेरे पास parameters बहुत है. Username, password, email, first name, last name, mobile number. And if you observe, sometimes when I'm creating the object, I forget what was the parameter one, what was the parameter two. I make mistakes, right? And it happens with you also, because then you start thinking, यार वो username में क्या देना था? Username was coming as first field, second field, third field. Are you getting the point? This is a very known issue that happens with everyone. Because if you are giving a lot of parameters to your constructor, you will always forget, अरे बाबा username का field position क्या था? 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So this problem can easily be solved using a design pattern, which is called as a builder design pattern. Okay. Now, builder design pattern basically is a special way of creating a class. And this particular class basically helps you to make sure that you are able to assign the values in any order. Matlab, I can pass mobile number first, then I can pass email second, then I can pass name third, so on and so forth. Something that we have done during the initial stage of the script. This given base URI dot header dot body, so on and so forth. So this is basically your builder design pattern. And this is something that I want to implement into my automation framework. Okay, this is just for the practice purpose, so that, like if in interview they ask you the question, tell me the different design patterns that you have created in your automation framework. I know you will be able to talk about page object. You will be able to talk about factory design pattern. I hope you will be able to talk about service design pattern that we have seen so far. And the most important thing over here, I hope you will be able to now talk about the your builder design pattern also. Just give me a moment over here. Now, over here, when you are looking at creating the builder design pattern basically is actually an inner class. I don't know if you remember what exactly inner class is in Java. Okay, we'll talk about inner classes over here. A class inside a class is basically what you call as inner class. Can I have a class inside another class? The answer is yes. This is my class called sign up request. इस class के अंदर मैं एक और class बनाऊंगा. Okay, and that class is apparently going to become my inner class. Now there is a rule about inner class. Which classes in Java can be inner class? Static class. So the next question that comes into picture, Jatin, can you make a class as static? The answer is yes, we can make a class as static. And in which scenario you will be making the class as static? The answer is in front of you. Builder design pattern. When I want to implement builder design pattern. अब देखो ये बनता कैसे, कुछ ज्यादा बड़ा नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है इसमें. I created a class inside a class, yes or no? And this class is static in nature. First rule. कितना इंस्टेंस वेरिएबल है? उठाओ सबको. Copy all the instance variable. Put it inside this particular class. Is this part clear to everyone what I've done so far? I created a class, and inside this particular class, I created another class which is static in nature. And this particular class has all the instance variable, whatever is there over here. Okay. अब इस क्लास में ना कंस्ट्रक्टर नहीं होगा. This particular class, builder class, is not going to have constructor inside it. Then what will be there? What will be there? Just the methods. I'm going to create a method in front of you. Public void. I'll say username. Public void username. You are going to give the username. And then I'm going to say this dot username equal to username. Have you seen this script anywhere when you write this dot username equal to username? This is your setter. This is your setter. Yes or no? Yes, no? Setter ही use करते हो ना, not getter, setter है. हाँ. Because you are setting it the value. Builder design pattern does not have any return type, does not use void as a return type. I always said void is never a good return type. So over here, once I will set this thing, I'm going to return the current object. इस class का जो भी current object the programmer is using, I will be returning that. Now, How do I get the current object of the class? How do I get the current object of the class? Bas, this keyword, acha pada hai na? That was the thing which I have uploaded a couple of days back. This keyword. This is going to return me the current object. For you guys, I'll write it in a little bit different step. This means current object. Object means new builder. I'll writing it in front of you like this. If I'm going to create a builder object and X is going to be my reference variable, what will be the data type of X? What will be the data type of X? You will say builder. Because आप current का ही तो object return कर रहे हो ना. You are creating an object of builder and X is going to be the reference variable. I say return X. What will be the return type of this method now? What this method is going to return me? What will be the return type of this method now? Builder. Data type of X will be the return type. Is this part clear to everyone? What I've written over here? Yes, no? Everyone, can I go ahead? But when I wrote over here new builder, आप current object नहीं दिए. You said Java go and create a new object. It is not talking about the current object. You said go and create a new object. What happens when you write new builder? Class will be loaded into the memory. Instance variable will be created. Constructor will be called. I don't want to create an object. I want the current object to be there. इसको निकाल के मैं this लिख देता हूँ. So this basically gives me the current object. Now, I can either write it like this. It will still work. Or what I can do is I am going to create another way. Okay, I'm just going to say password. You will give me the password. Password को लगाओ इधर, इधर, इधर. And instead of writing all these things, I will just say return this, finish. Make sense to everyone. Choice is yours. Start slow, but then pick up to the next mode. What exactly this line technically signifies. Is this part clear to everyone now, what I've written? Yes, no? Perfect. Both the two methods, username and password method is clear to everyone. Technically, it is the setter only. मैंने सिर्फ set password नहीं लिखा है, मैंने सिर्फ password लिखा है. Okay? I've just written this. Now, what we will do is, I will take this 2, 3, 4. Now, just take email, username and password is done. Email, 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 email. This is my set email method. Okay, first name, first name, first name, first name, first name. Then last name method. Last name, last name, last name, last name. Done. सब हो गया क्या? Mobile number is left. Take this. Okay. Paste it. I'm going to say mobile number. Okay. Mobile number, mobile number. Oops. Mobile number, mobile number. Is this part clear to everyone? What I've done so far? I created a builder class which has the same instance variable which is there in your sign up request. इस class का मुझे builder design pattern बनाना है. इस class का मुझे builder class बनाना है. So take the sign up request, whatever the instance variable are there, take that, put that in the inner class. Okay, the static class. And for each instance variable, I have the respective methods. Okay, it is going to set that instance variable and return the current object. Clear to everyone? Clear to everyone? Is the job done over here? The answer is no. Once everything is done, I will be creating a method called as build. And what build is going to do? Observe. It is going to create the object of sign up request. जो ऊपर बैठा है उसका object बनाएगा वो. Done. Now, what did I say about builder design pattern? In builder design pattern, the methods will always return something. Methods will always return something. So over here, in the build method also, I will be returning the sign up request object. So this is what is going to be there. Okay, done. So I created a class. This is just a Pojo class, but it also implements builder design pattern. अब बोलेंगे ये सब करके फायदा क्या करता है? Like every time he builds something new. So the benefit that you are getting when you write something like this is, let's say this is use account creation test. Okay. And let's take this particular method only as a reference. Copy this. So it's a public void create account test. अब ध्यान से देखो. Okay. Over here, what we want is, just give me a moment. Over here, what we want is, I want to create an account. So if I want to create an account, पहला तो मेरा payload ready रहना चाहिए. Of course, I can just call the auth service. Okay, auth service equal to new auth service. Okay. And I can say auth service dot create account. If that method is there, sign up. Okay. But the thing is, the payload that I have to give is going to be of sign up request. Yes or no? Sign up request का मुझे payload देना है. So I need to create the sign up Pojo object. Okay. So one thing I can do is I can write something like this. Okay. और pass करो सारी चीजें. So right now I was having username, password, email, first name, last name, mobile number. But if your payload is going to be big, let's say you have 30, 40 fields which are there, 30, 40 to zyada ho gaya, 10, 15 fields which are there, the constructor is going to look very complicated over there. So what we do in this kind of scenario, we use builder. Sign up request. Sign up request has a class inside it. Ha ki na? Sign up request has a class inside it. Yes or no? Sign up request के अंदर एक class है. Yes, no? What is the nature of that class? It is a normal class or it is a static class? Static class. So if you have a static variable, do you create an object to access that variable? No. We just need the class name. If I am going to have a static method, do I need to create an object? No. Class name is enough. So the same way, if a class is having another class inside it, and that class, my dear friends, is actually a static class, तो मेरे को उसका ऑब्जेक्ट बनाने का जरूरत नहीं है. I can just say sign up dot builder. Sign up dot builder. Dot. What do you want? I want to set the username. Okay. I want to use the username first. So I can just say dot username. Why it's giving me username like this? Just a moment. Yeah. It should be the object over here. My bad. Now it will pop up. Username. New sign up request dot builder. I will set the username first. मेरे को username याद आया. I'm gonna say Disha. Okay. Username कुछ return करता है क्या? What does username returns me? What does username returns me? Builder. It returns you builder, na? The return type of username method is what? Builder. It returns you the current object. इसी current object के ऊपर, I'm just going to say dot. I want to attach, let's say, email. What is your email address? disha@yahoo.com. To this particular current object, I want to attach first name. Okay. I'll say Disha. Let's say the username, I give a different number, 123. To the current object that we have, first name also returns me builder. I can say attach password. अब जो जैसा याद आते जा रहा है, I'll put it off over there. Say Disha 1 2 3 4 or 1 2 3. This also I'm going to keep it simple for me. Then I'm going to say dot last name. Okay, I'll say Bhatt. Dot mobile number 777777. बराबर हो गया 1 2 3 4. What's the number? 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, for safety. And once you have used all the instance variable, like you have done the setting, what is the last method that I'm supposed to call? What will be the last method? सारे method use कर दे, एक method बाकी है. Which is that method? The build method. Now, what does build method returns you? Build method returns me the sign up request. It is going to internally create that object of sign up request. Okay. And this entire stuff will create it like this. डालो इसको उठा के यहाँ पे. Finish. This is your builder design pattern. Oof. Is this part clear to everyone? Simple. समझा तो समझा, नहीं समझा तो गया. Is this part clear to everyone? In interview, they can ask the question, what is the benefit of this? Benefit is, आप कोई भी चीज को किधर भी ऑर्डर में लगाते जाओ. Are you getting the point? You could have done it with a constructor, but the thing with the constructor, you have to remember the parameters. Whatever works for you. ये भी लिख देता, then I have to remember the parameters. But as I've said, if you're going to have multiple parameters, if you're going to have a lot of parameters, 10, 15, your constructor length is going to be pretty big. Make sense? This becomes easy for you to read it. Username is Disha, email is this, first name is this, password is this, last name is this, mobile number is this, and then you say build and give me the object of sign up request. Okay, and then attach it off over here. Okay. Everyone, can I get an input from you guys? Yes, no? Then you're done. What does sign up request returns you guys? Sign up request returns me a response. And this is where my response comes into picture. And I will say, sys out response. Chala to chala, nahi chala to nahi chala. I have to check what will work, what will not work. But it fails. API authentication login. That's the endpoint mistake I have made. Path is API auth login. So over here, let's go to sign up and we need to fix this path. Okay. That is just, like my silly mistakes that I always make all the time. So I'm just going to copy this. It's just change it over here. Life is good. Okay. It's just going to be sign up. Okay. Copy. Paste it. And I can run this part. And if I hope it works now. Okay. What do you see the message over here? User registered successfully. You want to write the test? All you need to say is assert dot assert equals response dot as pretty string you will be like, Arey Jatin, you did not create an object for, like a Pojo object for this. I don't need to create an object for this. And the reason for that, guys, is because this is a normal string that I'm getting back in response. मेरे को JSON नहीं मिल रहा है वापस से. I'm getting a one-line description back. Normal text message. Okay, simple text. So that's the reason it's a simple string which is printed. and I'm just checking the string values, they are equal or not. Is this part clear? Is this part clear to everyone? If I save it, आपका test pass. So you don't need object creation for this. Test works completely fine. Okay. So if you start observing the benefit that I'm getting with the design patterns and the structure that we have created, I'm not using rest assured anymore. Did I go to the base service class and did I make any kind of a modification over there? No. मैं मेरा auth service में एक method को introduce करके बहुत खुश हूँ. I introduce this method, my job is done. Just change the sign up to payload, whatever the payload I need to pass. Base path I already know. I just gave the endpoint. And even if I am trying to write a test, this is pure Java, nothing else. Do you see any for loop? Do you see any conditional statement? नहीं, सीधा object बनाओ, pass करो, खत्म. Okay. Created the object, called the method, got the data, done. My job is done. Make sense? Is this part making sense to everyone? So this becomes better in terms of maintenance. What people were writing before. ये लिखने में बहुत टाइम जाएगा. इसको मेंटेन करने में ज्यादा टाइम जाएगा. So maintenance is pretty high in this scenarios. But over here, like in all these things, maintenance is pretty high. But what we have written over here is pretty simple. Tomorrow you'll say, Arey Jatin, check the status code. Simple. Just go over here, change it to response dot status code. What do you want? 200. Just change it to 200 and we are done. Save it, run it. Output is still the same. I did not understand the function of builder method. The request.builder is basically, if I have to create, if you look carefully, this is a static class, right? So if I have to access the static class, I have to access it like this. Getting the point? So, आप object ही बनाने वाले हो ना, sign up new request is equal to new sign up request. You have to first create the object. From that stuff, I am trying to access the builder object. And then for that builder object, I'll keep on passing username, email, first name, okay, password, last name, any order, whatever you want. Okay. Sorry, I forgot. Did you pass the authorization token somewhere? Why would you pass an authorization token? Why account ban raha hai? Do you need an authorization token before you create an account or what? You need authorization token when you try to access the services after you have logged in. This is sign up account creation. Make sense? Everyone, अकाउंट क्रिएशन के बाद भी क्या, लॉगिन करने के बाद आपका टोकन बनता है, साइन अप पे थोड़ी बनता है. ओके, अदर पीपल, मेक सेंस टू एवरीवन? नाउ I'll go with another flow, just a simple one. I'll go for forgot password. Now the reason I'm taking this forgot password is just so that you can understand another way of passing the data. और कुछ नहीं, डेटा पास कैसे करते हैं to your request body. I'll show you another way. Now look at this particular stuff and you guys start telling me. I'll take this one very slowly. I have been given to test this API called forgot password. Where should I start making changes? Should I make change in the base URI, base service? Is there anything that I need to change in the base service? Post request is there. Okay. I have already created a method for handling the post request. So nothing needs to be changed in the base service. Authentication service, there is a new method, new API coming into picture, forgot password. So I can know that I have to create a new method in the auth service class. Now I can see that it requires a payload. A payload jo hai, this is just a one field. Yes or no? There is only one field inside this particular payload. So I can create a class, but should I create the class? एक field के लिए कोई class बनाएगा क्या? I mean, like, you can create it off, but we'll go with a short solution for this. If you want कि Baba, your payload is only going to have one key, okay,
You don't really need to create a class. You can go for a different approach in this scenario. So what we will do is we'll go to the auth service and we will introduce a new method as usual because that's what we want. All the methods in the auth service will always return response because यहाँ पे API calls होने वाला है. Okay, so response will come into picture and the name of that API I will give. What is this? Forgot. Okay. Password. Forgot password के लिए मेरे को email की जरूरत पड़ेगा तो you will be giving me directly the email address. For the first time, I am not passing any POJO. I say give me the email address, directly email address though. Why? I'll explain you. I have to make the post request, तो ये मैं यहाँ पे लगा दूंगा. So this is what I will be passing over here in a moment, but in a different way. Now, before I do that, I'll take this forgot password endpoint. And I'll put it over here. Up, the magic is going to happen ki Baba, you will be giving me the email address in double quotes, Disha bhat123@yahoo.com. All those things will come over there. But I need to create a payload. So we go with a different solution over here. We will create a key value. We will create a key value. In Java ecosystem, is there a data structure that can handle key value? Maps. Map is a data structure that can handle key value pair of data. So I'm going to create a hash map in which key will be string and value will be string. And I'm going to call this chap as payload. Dhyan se dekho. And I'm going to say equal to new hash map. Hash map is a class which takes key value kind of a data. That reference is called as payload. And I've created an object of hash map. Now I'm just going to say payload dot put. Put is the method, not HTTP verb. If I have to put something in the hash map, I have to use put method. I'm just going to say email because the key is email and value is what you will give me. Khatam, finish. Okay. This is what I've introduced over here. Test. Forgot password test. I need to test the forgot password. You guys know it. We know it. It belongs to auth service. So auth service का object बनेगा. Auth service is equal to new auth service. Auth service dot forgot password. Give me the email address. Now I'll take the email address which I have. This one. Okay. So I'm gonna copy this email address, paste it over here. Okay. Forgot password returns you a response. Store it inside the response variable. And I'm going to say system.out.println response.as pretty string. Save it, run it. Let's see if it works. Message. If your email exists in our system, you will receive the instructions. Password request for 1024 at my end. This is the link. Is this part clear to everyone? What do you understood over here? Ki like Baba, if there is going to be only one field, एक ही field है, छोटा सा field है, ज़्यादा बड़ा नहीं, छोटा ही, just email I need to put over there. Don't go and start creating your page class or sorry, POJO class model. I can easily handle it off with my hash map in this kind of a scenario. Is this part clear? Is this part clear? Yep. And if you observe carefully, I have taken care of login request, sign up request, forgot password.
all the three APIs I have taken into the auth service class. This is how your auth service class looks. एक और है. Now, I don't know what exactly this reset password comes into picture. How reset password works, I forgot on that part. I'll check this part, how it works, but you really don't need to use, like, if you understood, it's gonna be there. Like what was the flow of this one? I forgot. I think the reset password is, now I remember what is this reset password, my bad. So the thing is, reset password is this one. ये link आया है ना? So this token which you see, token 20125AE-A2B7 and all. If I click on this token will be given over here. And you have to give the new password and confirm password. And if you click on reset password, it will be updating the password. Make sense? So token will be over here. So this is a different flow because then there are a lot of things that comes into picture. I have to read the inbox. Inbox में से वो mail पढ़ना पड़ेगा. उसमें से token निकालना पड़ेगा. I have to attach it to the payload. All those things. So I'll keep it in a different lecture. Okay, it will be kept over there on the LMS. But this is something which you can say as a challenge in your automation framework. That link was going over here and there, and then you had to take the token, expiry of the token, and all those things. Okay. Also, one more important thing कि बाबा एक बार आपने वो मेल भेज दिया ना, if the reset password का link has been sent, you cannot again say reset password. Make sense? So if I go over here to my test and I say run this particular stuff, now it is going to fail because एक link आपके पास पहले से आया हुआ है. Okay, it is not going to work. You have to use that link first, update the password. Getting the point? Else a new link is not going to be generated and given. Is this part clear to everyone? So please make sure you remember this particular point, because else when you will be testing, you'll say like a link nahi aa raha hai, because you already have a link. You solve that link first. Okay. Whew. Now, this is all about the auth service that we had. Now, I want to go to the user management service. Let's say the new requirement is कि यार user management को fix करो, इसकी APIs को test करना है. I'll go with the get profile first because put may obviously we have to change password. I don't want to change password at this particular moment. So over here, API /user/profile. Now, what all things are changing over here? Is the base URI changing? Sorry, base path changing? First, I was on API auth. Now the base path has become users. There is a change in the path? Yes, no. There's a change in the path? Yes. Next, I have to make a GET request. Is the HTTP verb different? The answer is yes. So I have to make two changes. First, I have to make the change in the base, the service, because GET request आ गया. इसके पहले कभी हमने GET किया ही नहीं. So since GET request is coming into picture, I have to make change in the base service. And since the base path is changing, you have to create a new class now. ये authentication service का part नहीं है. Make sense to everyone? Everyone. Right? So what you will do is in your service, let's start with the base service. I'll minimize it off and I will be creating a new method which is going to be called as get request. In life na, get request is the most simplest one. Why? Because get request में कभी payload लगता ही नहीं है. So I don't need this. I don't need content type. Get request is going to be directly getting the data. So you have to do this. Is this part clear? Done. I made the change over here. Is this part clear? What I've done over here? Now I need to introduce the new service layer, which I'm going to call this as user profile management service. It is a service. This service is going to extend base service. Clear? Next, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a base path, private string, okay, base underscore path equal to thing is clear to everyone. Base user is constant, so this is going to become final. If something is final, it will be static. Any concerns so far? Same thing, whatever we have seen, pure Java, nothing fancy over here. And here we have encountered the first or the second API, that is get one. I want to focus right now. So get is going to give me get profile, right? So I'm going to create a method over here called public void get profile. Okay. And how do I get profile? I have to call the get request internally, and I have to give the endpoint. Clear to everyone? Done. Get request returns me what? Response. Now whoever was asking me कि बाबा अरे वो authorization token का क्या होगा, अभी आएगा. So first I will be creating a class now. I want to check get profile request test. Okay. Get pro should come. Achare, thanks, sir. I keep on forgetting. I'll fix it up, but the problem is I keep on forgetting all these things. Thank you. वो चेक करता हूँ कि तुम लोग को याद है कि नहीं क्या कर रहा हूँ मैं. Okay. So base path plus forward slash profile. This is something that I put it off over here. And now what I need to do is I need to go to the get profile request test. Over here, as usual, you're going to introduce your test ng. Okay, I'm not putting the description and all, you know, you have to put it off. I'm just going to say get profile info test. Now, how do I get the get profile info? Understand this part. Idhar aaya. Back. Back nahi kar pa raha kya? Sorry. Okay. In order to get the profile information, first thing the user needs to do is log in into the application. Then I have to go to profile option. तब जाके मेरे को profile information मिलेगा. Yes or no? So are you getting the flow? The flow is log in into the application. From login, if the credentials are correct, then I can go and use the profile service. Make sense to everyone? There is a flow that comes over here. ऐसे ही आप सीधा user authentication, user profile service को access नहीं कर सकते. Okay. And obviously the reason is authorization token will be coming into picture. So over here, if I go over here and let's say I try to access this thing, let's say I say try it out. I click on execute. It's not going to work. It's going to say unauthorized, full authentication services required. So in order to make this API call, I need to pass the authorization token. Token banta kidhar hai? Who creates the token for us? The auth service. So over here, my guys, even though I want to use the user management service, मैं इसको तब तक यूज नहीं कर सकता जब तक टोकन नहीं आ रहा है मेरे पास. And the thing for token is auth service is responsible. So I'm going to say auth service equal to new auth service. And from this auth service, I will be using the login request. And technically, you will be just passing the payload of Uday's credentials, Uday 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And here also Uday 1, 2, 3, 4. What does your login method is going to return me. What does login method returns me? Response. तो पहले इसका response लूंगा. Observe. इसका response लूंगा. Then I will deserialize it. Response.as. Have I created a payload for the login response? कल API models.response में जाओगे तो login response मिलेगा. इसको मैप करो उसके साथ. What does this return me, guys? Response.as login response. What it is going to return me? किसका ऑब्जेक्ट मिलने वाला है मेरे को? लॉगिन रिस्पॉन्स का, login response ka. So I have to just create a login reference over here. Now this is where your deserialization comes into picture, which takes things to the next level. Okay. Login response dot. Have we created getters? Yes. Get. Do you see a method called get token anywhere? Yep. The third method. मुझे token का value मिल जाएगा. So if I run it, if my credentials are right, I'm able to see the authorization token coming into picture, which I need for the user service. अब इस token को मैं करता हूँ copy, and I go to this user profile service, and you see this lock. I click over here. I give the bearer token over here. Click on authorize. Okay. Let's click close and click on execute. Now you're going to get the response. So over here, if I have to pass the authorization token, I have to have this header. -h means I have to have this header. Tell me something. Who is responsible for creating the API request in my framework? Which class is responsible for that? Authentication service, user profile service, or base service? Who is responsible for creating the API request and getting me the response? कौन ला के देगा? Who can get that stuff for me? Who can get the stuff for me? The base service is responsible. Perfect. Base service is responsible. So whose job is to set the authorization token for me? Base service. So over here, I will introduce a new method in my base service class. And the job of this particular method will be to set authorization token for us. So I'm going to say, it's going to just give me void set auth token. Okay. I will be getting the token. I'll be giving the token, and to the request specification dot header. Okay. I can pass the header. See header. The first is I need to give authorization token. Take this. Then bearer word needs to be written. Okay. Bearer के बाद थोड़ा सा space है. You have to observe carefully. Bearer के बाद space है. Colon is basically the first key. This is the key. This is the value. So bearer is the word. And then to this bearer word, I need to attach the token. I need to attach the token. Okay. Now I have introduced this method, and the job of this method is to just attach the authentication token for this particular request. अब यहाँ से story turn लेती है. Because I need to pass the authorization token, I have to go to the user profile, and whenever you decide ki Baba, I will be making this GET request and all those things, you have to make sure that you pass the authorization token over here. So I will be giving the token to this method. दूंगा मैं इस method को token, and it is going to internally call the set token method for us. So in order to get the profile, authorization token will be set, and then the request will be made, and I will be returning the response back. So since I've introduced this change now, if I go back to my test, which I have not called it so far, I have the token with me. All I need to do is I'm going to say user profile management service dot get me the profile. I'm giving you the login request token, and it is going to return me the response. Okay. You can use the same variable because we don't need to use it. We are not doing any kind of an updation over there internally. So we can use this part. And I can just say system.out.println response. Aya, are you able to see the data? ID is 3, username is Uday, email is this, first name is Raj, last name is Kumar. Make sense to everyone? Make sense to everyone? Yes, no? Oof. Now, over here, the response which I'm getting back is in JSON format. Maybe for assertions, I want to deserialize it. So what you're going to do, you're going to create a what? A response model. So go to this response model, you create a class, and I'm going to call this class as user profile response. Okay, paste it. You know what to do. Control F. Control F. Okay, find me a double quote, replace it with nothing. Find me a colon, replace it with semicolon. Okay, this is a Control F, find me a double quote, replace it with nothing. Yeah, done. This is 3. Okay, this is string. I don't know, it did not change it. Control F, find me a colon, replace it with semicolon, done. Done. You know you have to create a Pojo class out of it. I've done this chap now. Right click source, generate the constructor using the fields. Right click source, generate the toString method. Let's generate getters and setters first. Okay. And then all I need to do is, instead of doing response.asPrettyString, I can just say response.as which class? Get profile. User profile, sorry. Now, if you see carefully, everything is kind of similar. I'm just repeating the same operations again and again. Abhi thoda confidence aa raha hai ki it's the same thing I'm doing. I'm not doing anything fancy or anything new. Once you understand, ये सब same ही चलते रहने वाला है और कुछ नहीं रहने वाला. System.out.println. Okay, I'm just printing the username. So if I'm not wrong, Uday 1, 2, 3, 4 should be printed on my console. Fail क्यों हो गया भाई? Jackson binding. So over here, you have to just make sure that you have a default constructor. Done. Yeah. Uday 1, 2, 3, 4. Is this part clear to everyone? What I've done so far? Yep. Everyone in the people in the call, all good? Yes, no? ये ऊपर से क्या? Right. How did I resolve the last error? Last error is because of this रे बाबा. Last time also I had this error, ना? वो error देखने के बाद ही आ जाता है मेरे को कि if you look carefully, it's written. Cannot construct instance of response profile projo, no creator, like default constructor exists. So it's telling me that there is no default constructor in user profile response. So I have to create that constructor. That was the issue. Okay, let's finish. How long the token is valid, and can we create entry to request token as and when required and pass it to the other request? And that's the problem. We have solved it with the authentication service. आपको जब भी चाहिए आप auth सर्विस का ऑब्जेक्ट बनाओ, आप उसके टोकन वाले मेथड को कॉल करो, लॉगिन वाले मेथड को कॉल करो, टोकन मिल जाएगा. ओके, टोकन आई फील इज it's valid for a long time. I believe it's valid for 24 hours or something. But the thing is, whenever you want, you can create it. That's as simple as that. बस ये call करो, token मिल जाएगा. Okay, 24 hours, yeah. And one more thing that you can do over here is you can just create a service out of it. You can create a utility method called get token, और ये चार method को call करो. Okay, inside चार lines को call करो उसके अंदर. Make sense? You can create a utility method. You just call the auth service get authorization token, and internally you call this method. So whenever you want, you call that method. Okay. Is this part clear what I've done over here? So this is the first API call where I am doing the authentication. Second one where I am getting the user details. Now probably we have three, or I don't know how many base service we have. We have post, get, put. Post, get, and set is there. Authorization token which is there. I'll just take one more for now, and then we can stop. This one, I'll take a very simple one. I'm not going to do the delete one. Account delete ho jayega yaar befizul ka. So I'll go with the update. So over here, I can update the what? Update the personal information. Okay. So this is the Pojo for that. I believe we have that Pojo. Hope so. No, we don't have it, but we can quickly create one. I'll create it in the builder format also, so that it's going to be a quick revision for that. So I'm going to create a class, and I'm going to call this particular class as profile request Pojo. Okay. Profile request. Okay. And over here, it will be private string. Clear to everyone? Next, I need to remove these chaps. Next, I need to remove these double quotes and all. Next, I need to remove this colon and put semicolon. Again, once you get comfortable with these things, na, see the, like for practice purpose and all, you are doing fine, great. But later on, you just give it to GPT and all. It's jaldi bana deta hai wo. So I'm going to right click, go to constructor, paste it off, right click source, generate the getters and setters, right click source, generate the toString method. Done. Do you want to create a builder for this? Let's create a builder for this. Last one, we'll quickly do the last builder creation. Though this particular class does not require a builder creation of 4 variable के लिए थोड़ी कोई builder बनाऊंगा, but still if you want, you can create it off for practice. What do you mean by builder design pattern? Builder design pattern is going to be accomplished with the help of which classes in Java? Inner classes in Java. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a inner class What is so special about inner class? A class which is there inside another class is called as inner class. Inner class are which, what in nature? Static in nature. So static builder. Is this part clear to everyone? Yes or no? Fatafat. Okay, quick. This is something that we have. Now, whatever the instance variable which are there in the profile request, uthao aur chipka do idhar, finish. Then what you are going to do? You are going to create individual methods for now. Public void first name. First name is actually a method which is going to just do the job of the setter for me. Okay, so I'm going to pass the first name to this chap. And it is a setter. So this is the code of exactly the setter that you create. And what exactly this method needs to return me? The current object of the builder class. Return this. और इसका return this हो रहा है, तो what will be the return type of this first name method? Builder. खत्म कहानी. Finish. Copy this. 2, 3, 4. Take the last name, put everywhere last name, last name, last name, last name. Done. Next, email. Copy this. Email, email, email. Next one, mobile number. Take this, put it here, put it here, put it here, put it here. Next, one more thing is remaining. What is the builder class ready? No, we have to create one more method which is called as the build method or whatever you want to call it. Let's say build. And the job of the build method, it is going to create the object of outer class. So over here, I'm just going to say profile request. Profile request equal to new profile request and just keep everything as it is because the names were given in such a way that Baba, it is only going to pick up the instance variable. And I'm going to say return profile request. If I'm returning profile request, what will be the return type of this method? The reference of parent, the reference of outer class. Finish. Life is good. Done. You have created this builder class. Okay. I just created it for your practice. Apart from that, there's no need for me to create this chap. All right. So done. Now let's create a method over here and I'm going to call this particular method as update profile test. That's what we want to do. Let's go over here. Let's remove all these things. We'll do it from scratch. Now I want to test the update request. What type of HTTP verb is this? Put. Do I have a put request in my base service? Base service पे put request बनाया क्या मैं? No. तो update करना पड़ेगा. API or API forward slash user is the path. So over here, which class will be updated over here? Profile service class. Okay. So I have to make two changes over there. That's the maximum I need to do. I will be going to the base service first. Let's go to the base service. And nothing fancy. Just copy this post request only. इसको put लिख दो. Because in post, put, okay, you generally pass payload. Okay. So that will be there. Only the endpoint will change over here to put. Baki sab same hai. Okay. Now in the user management service, I will create a method. Now, I don't want to call it get profile. I'll call it update profile because it is a put operation. So मैं इसको बोलूंगा update profile. And of course, if I want to update the profile now, if I log out, close. Even if I want to try out, let's say I click on try out and I click on execute, ये नहीं चलेगा. Because in order to update the profile, authorization token needs to be there. उसके बिना आप नहीं कर सकते. Okay. So over here, set authentication token will happen into picture. You have to pass the token and you have to give me the payload. Okay. Object payload, or what was the payload over here we have created? User profile. No. I created a payload over here, no? Profile request payload. Okay. And I'm not going to make a get request. It is going to be put request. So I'm going to say put request. You have to first give the payload, then this chap. Finish. Finish. Then go back to your update profile test. करो. Update profile करने के लिए क्या करना पड़ेगा? In order to update the profile, first I need to log in. Observe carefully. Log out करता हूँ. पहले मेरे को log in करना पड़ेगा. Once I log in into the application, authorization token will be created. Then I need to go to profile option. Then I need to click on edit. तो यहाँ पे मेरा authorization token is activated. It's already there. So I can start making the changes over here. And the same flow will happen here also. First, I have to call the auth service equal to new auth service. Then I'm going to say auth service dot login, and I can give the payload Uday1234. Uday1234. This entire thing returns me what? Response. Are you there with me or left? Bhai, kya scene hai? All good? Response. Okay. Now I'm going to say response dot as we will deserialize the response to login response. Dot class. Okay. Now this will return me an object of login response. The login response. Login response. And then we got the authorization token. As simple as that. अब उसके बाद मेरे को यूजर प्रोफाइल सर्विस को देखना था. So user profile management service equal to new user management service. Okay. I'll say user management profile service dot get me the profile. In order to get the profile, I need to pass the token. तो वो तो login response से मिल जाएगा. Login response dot get me the token. So it is going to give me the response. I can use the same response variable. लगा देते हैं यहाँ पे. Next. Let's do one more thing. Let's keep on printing the response also. So I'm going to say response.asPrettyString for this chap. I'll take this, put it over here for better readability. This is where my first request will end. I will see the response. This is where my second request will be made. I can see the response. And then I will deserialize the response. If you wish, you can do that part. Okay. I can just say system.out.println. Response.as user profile response dot class. Okay. User profile response. I don't know. User profile response. And probably I can just introduce some kind of an assertion. Assert equals user profile response dot get me the first name, not the first name. Get me the username, and username needs to be Uday1234. Right? Because username, you're doing it for login. Next, this part is done. This is the second API request which I made. Now let's go to the third one. Third one, I don't have to create an object because मेरा user profile service कोई मैं access कर रहा हूँ. So user profile service is already there. Token is already set. मैं उसी को use करूँगा बस. User profile service dot update profile. Okay, update the profile. I can pass the authorization token in this kind of a scenario. Login response dot get me. Sorry. Login response dot get token. Get token. And I need to pass profile request का payload. तो उसका builder बनाना पड़ेगा. I'm like, I have to create the payload. I'm going to say profile request equal to new profile request dot builder dot whatever you want. First name Rajta, I'll say Disha. Next dot last name, I'll say, but I'm just changing the name of this user. Okay. So these informations are getting updated. Email, I can just give a different email, disha1234@gmail.com. Okay. Dot, what else we have? Just give me a moment. Okay. Sometimes the suggestions over here will bad. Dot mobile number 7777771. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Done. And then finally, I'm going to call the dot build. Khatam. You created the profile request ka payload with the help of builder design pattern. You'll take this. Isko attach karo yahan pe. What you will get return response. So just take the same variable, put it over here. We have not deserialized it, so I'm just going to say response. That's pretty straight. Clear to everyone? People in the call? Okay. And if everything works fine, should work. I don't know. Chale to theek, na chale to bhi theek. Okay. It works. Uday 1, 2, 3, 4. Password is not updated, but everything else is updated. So if I just go to account and then say I decide to go to profile. Okay. Let's say I update this stuff. Did not happen. Let's log out. Close. What's the same credentials I've used? Damn, man. Okay. Let's check over here. Response dot as pretty string. No, array. My bad. This is not one. This is not the one which is running. Right click, run as test ng test. Okay. Yeah. This is the response from the first one. This is the response from the second one. और फिर मैंने यहाँ पे डेटा को अपडेट कर दिया. ठीक है? So these things are getting updated. So if I go to the application now, okay, and I decide to go to profile, Disha, but email, mobile number, done. Clear to everyone? Yes or no? Everyone, people in the call who stayed back so late, समझ गया क्या सब भाई? Okay, I took a very decent flow over here. You can keep on continuing. You want, you can update the password. इसी को continue करो, password update कर दो, चल जाएगा. Okay. So if you want to update password and all those things will work. So that's the stuff over here, guys. This was a framework which I've created recently, so I thought I'll probably give it to you guys. So I hope you have understood how these things are built. Okay. You can use it in your office project. You can use it wherever you want. Next class, next Saturday, when I'll be connecting with you guys, for delete, what's the confirmation code? What's the confirmation code? Delete. I think so. I haven't tested. The thing is that feature is not there on the UI right now. So because I didn't wanted people to delete their account, but the thing is, if let's try to see if there's a delete. My test kar leta hu yaar in front of you all itself. Okay. Don't delete this account. Okay. So over here, try it off. String. Mm, 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 mm. I don't want to take a risk over here. Yes. Confirmation code will come on your email and all. You can't really do it from here. It's like there's an admin and all those things comes into picture. So in the admin controller, he can control like whose account can be deleted, updated, and all. So there's going to be a confirmation code that comes. Okay, probably it goes into the email and all. So that's the flow over there. I'll probably check on that one. Now, hope you got the end-to-end flow, guys. It is not going to be uploaded directly in the self-paced section right now. As I've said, I'll put it over here. ये जो document है ना, I'll put a YouTube link over here of that particular video. You can watch it directly here itself. Okay. So in the documentation and the lecture, it will be there. I'll tell my folks to combine yesterday's and today's lecture together and remove the unnecessary part where there is a delay or a pause or something like that, so that you can watch it in one shot. Make sense? थोड़ा better हो जाएगा. All right. So that's something that you'll find it over here itself on this Notion page, whatever the URL you have. You can bookmark it. Okay. So I hope this particular session was useful to you guys, man. Like, I did change a lot of things in the framework for like previously, if you're coming from different batch, that time the framework was different. This time I made a lot of difference over here. The only reason is like a lot of things comes, changes here and there. And I just wanted to make sure like there are people from the new batch also, like they might be aware of basic things. So that's the reason I kept it open for folks. So well, that's not a good compliment, Manoj, but anyways, that's fine. So the thing is, this is just the subset, okay, which I have created it off over here. Probably on the LMS you'll find more because I was working on like when I get time to study, I prepare those things. So these days I don't get time, but the thing is, a lot of things can be introduced in your project, like security testing. Okay. I wanted to add it in this ecosystem itself in the live sessions. It practically won't be possible for me. So the thing is, this might be the subset which I wanted to create as of now, so that you can showcase it in the interviews and all. So just wait till January end or Feb's first week or something. The OSWAP will come into picture where you can do the vulnerability testing of the APIs. It will be there on the LMS. Okay, that I'll probably not be able to take it in the live classes, but live classes like Jan end, Feb end, whatever it comes into picture. For me right now, the most important thing is to complete with the topic of your object-oriented programming. So I just made sure that the things which we are learning right now, okay, and what you're doing right now, you keep on revising those Java concepts over there so that when those topic comes, it's not something that you are getting scared of what exactly it is. कुछ बड़ा नहीं है वो swap add करना. It's like just a library I have to introduce, and it is just going to take care of the vulnerability checks over here. Database testing, generally, I don't try to put it over here, but it's just an end-to-end check. So again, you'll find something in the JDBC and all those things, JDBC connector when the last topic of Java will be there. So there is a change in the Java curriculum also. I've done it. And the last topic, I think so, was collections or the array list and all that. I take it off. But two basic things that I've added is the JDBC connector and logger. Logger, you don't really need to watch also, because if you have done the tellet assignment, that's the exactly same thing that I'll be teaching over there. So ऐसा कोई तोप काम नहीं बताने वाला. Same here also, if you want to introduce logger, it's just a 2-minute task. You just need to make sure that the log4j XML file is added. You add the respective library log4j XML file. आप लोगों को logger का utility copy paste करके यहाँ पे डाल दो. Okay, and then you use it off. Those things I'll be taking it in the next class, that is this next Saturday. That is going to be the day 3 part. Okay, and in day 3 we'll just understand the final finishing touch. I won't be writing any API test that time. Okay, so you guys can practice it off by yourself over there. These things will be introduced. What will be filters, how exactly log files will be created, your XMLs and all those things, how to run the test ng test in parallel mode. आप इसको खुद copy paste करके अभी भी कर सकते हो, इसमें कुछ बड़ा काम नहीं है, but I'll just do it in front of you guys. How to do thread safe testing, meaning if I'll be testing individual APIs parallelly, how I can do it off. Okay, finally I'll end that particular class, this particular class on Sunday, where we will be doing the final touch, where we will integrate it with the GitHub Actions. Okay, so you will have an end-to-end framework of API testing, just like how you have done it for Telit. That this particular framework is also getting integrated with your CI tool. Make sense to everyone? जिन्होंने Telit कर लिया है, I think day 3 is something that you can do it by yourself. Okay, so please try to do it yourself first, because it is going to give you a lot of confidence. मैं करके जाऊंगा तो this is not what I'm doing over here is just like I'm explaining you the code, but unless you are writing the code, you will not get that confidence. हाँ, वो as I said, it will be uploaded in the combine. Yesterday's and today's class I'll combine it off. Yesterday's class I have already uploaded in your respective batches. Okay, कोमल आपकी बैच में पहले ही डाला हुआ है, दिशा आपकी भी, सबकी बैच में डाला, only in the self-paced class it is not there. Okay. Acha, this also I forgot to read this word. Okay, I'll do that part over there. That's a wrap. Okay, so I'll end it off over here, guys. Thank you so much for your time, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, take care. Bye bye. I hope you are confident, and please start giving interviews. The only reason I have to combine the multiple batches and take this topic is so that you feel confident कि बाबा API framework आता है मेरे को बनाने के लिए. There was this one like student Monica. Okay, she's not there today, I guess. उनके चक्कर में लेना पड़ा मुझे एक्स्ट्रा. ठीक है, so thank her, not me. Okay, I'll take care, guys. अच्छा, you're great. Okay, क्या होता है, like I keep people on mute now, so I'm not used to of all these silence. Okay, so that's the thing. Okay, so I hope you got the confidence, Monica. Just build this particular project, use the tell it part, and I think you're fine with this stuff. Okay, so the various design patterns, just to repeat: builder, page object, service object, factory. आपकी क्लास में factory बताया था in terms of your what authorization वाला part, yeah, for Phoenix application, those things you're done, and end-to-end integration over there. Okay, Chaitali, I hope it's clear to you, right? Everyone comfortable with these things now? Okay, bas bhai, बढ़िया. People who joined recently: Anirudh, Niharika, Shraddha.
Yes, Jatin.
Okay.
It was good
Hitesh.
actually.
ठीक है. So practice this part. I'll update this particular document probably tomorrow or something, so you can use these things over here. Okay. As a task, as your assignment or something, if you want to practice more, try to create all. बना लो, कुछ भी करते जाओ. अभी swagger doc तो आपके पास है ही. So I will just suggest कि like you go for user management only. इसमें पांचों HTTP वर्क पड़ा है, so you can just do that part. Confirmation का I'll update how exactly it works over there. KYC controller, you can do it off. There is a mocking which is there, like which takes care of UPI transactions and all. Good luck with that, man. That's a little bit tricky one to handle. Report generation. Okay, so this is just a get one. It's just going to generate the HTML, or sorry, the Excel report and PDF report for you guys. जैसे bank statements बनते हैं, तो बस download कर सकते हो. All right, that's all. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.